Hej og velkommen til. I dag der tænker jeg, at vi skal dække lidt af den sag, som handler om, ja, hendes navn, det er jeg lidt usikker på, Kouri eller Carrie, der er en børnebogsforfatter. Hun er kendt for at have skrevet en bog om sorgen ved børn, når de mister en forælder. Det er jo altid sørgeligt. Problemet er så lidt for hende, at hun nu er tiltalt for at have dræbt den ægtemand, som hun skrev bogen om, at børnene savnede bagefter. Hun er tiltalt for at have givet ham en 5-dobbelt dosis af dødelig fentanyl. Så jeg tænkte, vi kunne hoppe ind og høre, hvad sagen handlede om. Der har været en hearing om, at hun kunne få lov at få bail, altså om hun kunne være fri for fængslet ved at betale for det, og det er den, vi dækker i dag. Jeg tænker, vi går den sådan igennem af et par gange, for det er en 4 timers lang høring, så jeg tænker, vi tager det første vidne i dag, en politibetjent, der har efterforsket den her sag, og så ser vi, der kommer nok en igen i morgen, hvis vejret ikke bliver alt for varmt. Det er jo lunt nok lige nu. Hello and welcome to this coverage of and I'm not sure of her name, Kouri, the children's book author who wrote about how her kids missed their dad, and she was quite famous, went on all the TV shows, and the problem was that now she has been charged with the murder of her husband. She's charged with giving him the five times the legal, not the legal amount, the deadly amount of fentanyl. This is her bail hearing, and it's a pretty long hearing, but I'm thinking that we'll chop it up in bits. So today we'll take the first witness. It's a detective who investigated this trial, and then maybe tomorrow, if it's not getting way too hot to sit in here, because Denmark is supposed to have a heat wave tomorrow. But I have invited some guests. Maybe they show up and can entertain you, or else I will try to do my best. I can see that the chat is already getting rowdy. That's good. And I'm happy it's you who did it excited. It's always nice when it's you. You are so gentle. And David, I think I should have a lot more experience. Maybe in January, when we are going to drink on the ferry, we'll find out, maybe rent a room or something, then we'll have fun. I bet Farrell is gonna have the pictures when we're done. Og Søren, bare slap af, nu er jeg her. Jeg ved, du sidder og savner mig, men du har fået din skruenøgle, så slap af. Og god eftermiddag, Mads. Tak fordi du kigger forbi. She wrote the book after his death because her kids missed their dad, and it's she got the inspiration just right around the time when her husband passed. Of course, as always, we'll have to wait to see the trial because no one is guilty before they are found guilty in a court of law. We have to remember that, and that's why I haven't looked into the background of this hearing. I haven't seen the hearing. I'm jumping in raw, just like all of you, so we can do our own impressions. Remember, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about American law other than what I've learned on YouTube, like most of you. But again, we are normal people, and all of you Americans could be called to sit in a jury on the trials like this. So I think it's interesting to watch it and try to make our own determination of how would we look on a case like that. Do we find her guilty? Do we not find her guilty? If you followed along on David's channel yesterday, I know most of you did. We had the poor 18-year-old girl who maybe threw lie on her dad, and after a long time he passed away, and she was sentenced yesterday. A lot of you had compassion for her and felt it was wrong that she was convicted, but again, That's the interesting part of doing this, as Mo calls it, layman tube. Us non-lawyers, we can sit and think, how would I react if I saw this in court? How do I weigh this evidence? Does this make her seem more or less guilty? Do I believe her story? Do this seem like maybe the DA is railroading someone? We have seen that in cases too. We all know the Zachariah Anderson case, where most of us feel like he had a bad deal. Other people will say, well, it was enough for me to judge them. So I like to do this layman stuff where we are going in blind, and then we'll make up our minds along the way. And then at some point, maybe we'll see David jump in if he has this stupid thing called work. But if he has the time, he can come in, tell us all how wrong we are because the law says this and that. But again, everybody who gets to sit on a jury will have their emotions with them into the trial. And that's what we're doing here. We're just the fly on the wall and makes up our own independent decisions, because the beauty of being on YouTube is we can argue, we can disagree, and we can all be friends afterwards. Some trials we are very, very certain that the person did it or didn't do it. Sometimes it's split. Sometimes we are not sure what happened. But again, the fun part of doing these kind of YouTube things are that everybody can participate, and in the chat, you are always welcome to chime in, because I'm getting my education online just like you can, and I can learn so much. Again, I'm from Denmark. I'm not sure I know everything about the law in the US. I'm a pre-law student of David's, Jeff's, Ricada, and all those people. I've watched a lot of trials, but I don't know anything about the law. It's something you have to go to school or something like that to understand that. And I'm blonde, so I don't go to school much. But let's jump into it and see what happens. Good morning. If you're sick, go to the toilet. Exactly. We do this like a jury. I don't know how many. We are 10 people here. We need 2 more, then we can be a jury, and then we can convict somebody. But let's jump into it and see if we can make up our minds. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe she's just falsely accused, or maybe the evidence will point at some guilt on her part. Good morning, Jungmin. No, I'm not a lawyer because I can math. I'm a layman in the Danish system, so I have probably been in more cases than most of the law tubers, and I have probably been a juror in a lot of criminal cases, a lot more criminal cases than any of the lawyers on YouTube, because again, in America, normally you try to plead out or you don't go to court that much. But I don't know, for 12 years I've been doing this layman duty in Denmark, and we have, I would say normally I'm doing 6 to 10 criminal cases a year, where I am the one sitting there and listening to all the evidence and trying to paint the picture of what really happened. So that's why I think it's interesting to try and learn how to do it in another language, because the laws are different, and I can't talk about the cases I've been in or what we do in those cases other than general stuff, because of course we don't talk about stuff like that. But I have a lot of experience listening to explanations, watching people tell these stories, get the feeling, do I trust them, do I not trust them? But I don't have the law degree that makes me maybe a bit one-eyed, because I know the law says this, the law says that. And again, if you have 12 people in the jury box, you can get any kind of conviction. If we agree or not, it's not sure that you agree with most of the cases we're watching on YouTube. But again, one thing is the law. The law is clear. But again, it's 12 people just like you and I who sits in the box, and when the case is presented for them, they have to make up their mind. So we'll make our own little jury here on YouTube and see if we can find out if we think it's right or wrong. But let's jump into it and see what happens.
Good morning, Ms. Richins. Can I have counsel for the state make their appearance, please?
Yes,
Sound
Your Honor,
is
Patricia
loud
Cassell
enough.
for the state.
Your Honor, Brad Bloodworth for the state.
Joseph Hill on behalf of the state.
Margaret Olson.
Welcome. Thank you. On behalf of Ms. Richins, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. Sky Lazaro on behalf of Ms. Richins.
Aaron Hinton on behalf of Ms. Richins.
Søren, du må ikke simpe for hende her forsvarsadvokaten.
Thank you. All right. We're here today for a detention hearing to determine whether Ms. Richins will continue to be held without bail during the pretrial period. I've read a lot of stuff. I've reviewed the defendant's motion to consider defendant's constitutional right to bail, the state's bench brief, defendant's motion to set conditions for release, the state's response, and I read your reply filed last evening, Ms. Lazaro.
Thank you. I apologize for that.
It's fine. This is a dynamic situation. I'd like to hear from the state first. Who's leading the
I
presentation?
am, Your Honor.
Ms. Cassell, how would you like to proceed?
Your Honor, we have 3 witnesses that we would like to call.
Okay.
We are prepared to call them now.
Who's the first witness?
The first witness is Detective O'Driscoll.
Do we have an exclusionary rule issue? I'm not sure it applies today, but I thought I'd ask.
I'm not sure it does either, given sort of the loose nature as far as the rules go on this hearing. Given the nature of the proceedings and I'm sure what's to come, extensive.
Who has something on her shoulder? I didn't see anything. It's the YouTube thing. You get blind when you're sitting here trying to follow along on the chat and the stream at the same time.
The testimony in this case and a number of different issues. I would ask that it be imposed.
I mean, 1101C4 would say the rules of evidence do not apply today.
That is correct.
Exclusionary rule is a rule of evidence. Okay. It's a reasonable request, but it's denied.
Thank you.
Is it Detective O'Driscoll?
Yes.
Okay. If you'd step in front of Brittany, we'll get you sworn in.
And ladies, what do we see? The defense lawyer, a nose job, or does he just have the straightest, smallest nose ever?
For the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of the truth.
It's the mic.
Good morning, Detective O'Driscoll. Can you please introduce yourself to the court and explain your relation to this case?
My name is Detective O'Driscoll. I've been with the Summit County Sheriff's Office for 7 years. I'm assigned to the Investigations Division. I was assigned to be the lead detective in this case in April of this year. This case is an active case and the investigation's ongoing.
Detective, what was the sheriff's office first involvement in this case?
On March 4th, 2022 at 3:22 hours, Summit County Dispatch received a 911 call regarding an unresponsive male in the Francis area.
Have you listened to that 911 call?
Yes,
Who placed that call?
the defendant, Kouri Richins.
In addition to saying that someone was unresponsive, did Ms. Richins, the defendant, identify who was unresponsive and anything else about that person's condition?
Yes, she stated that it was her husband, Eric Richins, that was unresponsive, that he was cold to the touch and not breathing.
Did EMS and police respond to that address?
Yes,
Is that the family home?
yes,
Was a portion of the police and EMS response captured on police body camera video?
yes, it was.
Have you reviewed that video?
Yes, I have.
On that video, what time does EMS pronounce Eric Richins dead?
03:58 hours on March 4th.
What, if anything else, does EMS say about how long he had been dead?
One of the EMS personnel made the comment that he had been dead a while.
Did the state medical examiner's office conduct an autopsy of Mr. Richins?
Yes, they did.
Have you reviewed the medical examiner's autopsy report
Yes,
and the toxicology report that's part of that?
yes.
What did the medical examiner identify as the cause of death?
Drug intoxication with the specific drug being fentanyl.
I'm going to now ask you, Detective, some questions about someone with the initial CL. Do you know who I'm talking about when I say CL?
Yes, I do.
Who is CL in relation to the defendant?
CL is an associate of the defendant. She cleaned houses for the defendant's business as well as her personal home at times.
Does CL have a criminal drug history?
Yes,
Is she under supervision in a different county, a county other than Summit County?
yes, she is.
And is that in relation to certain drug charges?
Yes,
Does the program,
Oh, I should probably say that she's charged with aggravated murder, which carries a 25-year minimum, and life without parole is the max. So it's a pretty big case. If she gets convicted, then it's bye-bye for a very long time, probably for the rest of her life. And I believe it's in Utah. Yeah, Utah.
does the court program in which she's in monitor treatment and testing, et cetera?
yes.
Do you know how CL is performing in that program?
Based on my interactions with CL, she is progressing through the stages of that program, and that her personal outlook on her recovery is optimistic.
Have you interviewed CL in connection with this case?
Yes,
Approximately how much time have you spent interviewing her?
over the course of multiple interviews, several hours each, I would say upwards of 10 hours.
Was CL in custody when you interviewed her?
Yes, she was.
Was that interview captured on video and audio recording?
Yes.
What, if any, promises did you make regarding, to CL regarding her cooperation with being interviewed?
CL was not made any specific promises, but at the outset of our interviews, we explained to her that her cooperation in our investigation would result in us working with the prosecutors that were responsible for the charges she was facing.
And
Did
and
you express to CL this?
and that's the thing, Mads, that I always find so fishy in these criminal cases from the U.S. that you can make these plea bargains and you can get a promise that if you sing, we'll make another person swing and you get off free. We saw it. I don't know if you have followed the rapper case from, I believe, from Florida, where the state implied that the defense had promised to take care of a witness. It blew up big time yesterday, and sometimes I'm wondering if the state can promise you that we'll tell the prosecutor in your case that you did a good job in our case. Is that worse than saying, well, you shouldn't lie on the stand or anything, but if you give a good testimony, we'll make sure that if you need anything, we'll take care of you. It's wrong if the defense does it, but the state do it all the time. Again, if you watched my Adam Montgomery coverage, everybody had a plea deal. Everybody had some kind of promises from the state, and I think that's what we don't really get as Danes because we don't use it here in Denmark. Yeah, maybe, or she could get a lesser sentence. Maybe it could be bounced down from a felony to a misdemeanor or something like that, or she can get a lower bond. We don't know, but I think it's strange that people can make these kind of deals with the state, but if you ever do it with the the defense, well, then you are lying and you can't trust anybody. But the state can do it all the time.
Seriousness of this case as well as the charges she was facing?
Yes, we expressed to her the seriousness of the charges and the possible results of those charges. As well, we impressed upon her the importance or the value of her testimony in this case as it related to the charges that she was facing, and that her testimony or any information that she may have was more important to us.
So
Did you stress to CL that the information you were asking her about needed to be credible and verifiable?
Yes, we told her at the beginning of our interview that any information that she may have, we would need to corroborate in order for it to be of value to us.
Did CL cooperate with being interviewed?
Yes, she did.
Did CL know Eric Richins?
Yes, CL told us that during the time that she spent cleaning the Richins home, she got to know Eric, that she felt that he was a really good person. She liked him, and she was very saddened to hear that he had passed away.
Did there come a time when investigators executed a search warrant on CL's home?
Yes.
In executing that warrant, did you make any observations consistent with CL's testimony that she felt bad about Eric Richins' death?
Yes. Inside the home, we identified a bedroom that belonged to CL. In the bedroom, there was a mirror above a desk. On the mirror were taped or affixed several inspirational quotes that seemed to relate to her recovery and her drug court program. Amongst all those inspirational quotes was a newspaper clipping of Eric Richins' obituary.
Did you get the impression that part of the reason CL cooperated?
and I have to, I don't know if I have to excuse, but this recording is choppy at some points along the way. It's just blinks, and I can't do anything to fix it. It's annoying as something I can't say, but we'll try to bear over with it. English very hard to speak.
Is because she felt bad for Eric Richins?
Yes, in fact, she said so many times in our interviews.
Detective, I want to turn now to what, if anything, CL told you about the defendant requesting that CL purchase fentanyl for the defendant. What did CL tell you?
In our interviews, CL told us that in early 2022, the defendant reached out to her either by phone call or text message requesting that she procure fentanyl for what the defendant reported was an investor who had a back injury.
And upon the defendant asking CL to get fentanyl, what did CL do?
CL told us that she reached out to an acquaintance of hers, acquaintance one, and requested that she introduce her to somebody that could sell her fentanyl.
Did acquaintance one introduce CL to someone that could sell CL fentanyl?
Yes, CL said that acquaintance one provided her with a phone number of another acquaintance, acquaintance two, who was someone that she knew could sell CL fentanyl.
And did CL say that she ultimately contacted acquaintance two?
Yes, she did.
What, if anything, did CL say about purchasing fentanyl from acquaintance two?
CL told us that she contacted acquaintance two after receiving his phone number and asked to arrange to meet to purchase some fentanyl from him. She stated that sometime in February, she believed she met up with acquaintance two at a Maverick gas station in Draper and purchased from him 15 to 30 round green-blue pills, which she understood to be fentanyl.
Using phone records through the course of your interview with CL, were you ultimately able to narrow down on what that date was in February that CL purchased fentanyl from acquaintance two at the Maverick in Draper?
Yes, based on Forensic evidence, we were able to determine that that date was February 11th, 2022.
What, if anything, did CL say about what she did with the fentanyl pills that she purchased from acquaintance 2?
CL told us that after purchasing the pills from acquaintance 2, she returned home to her house in Heber. She said that either later that night or the next day, the defendant met her in the driveway of that home and did a hand-to-hand exchange of pills for cash.
Maybe don't roll your eyes if you are a defendant like this. I know you maybe don't like what you hear and think that they are not telling the truth, but rolling the eyes in court, it could make people dislike you very fast. And we have to recommend this lawyer. He uses what, if anything, correctly, not like a certain Elaine we all remember from the Johnny Depp trial. So it's nice that he can use it in the proper way, not trying to make hearsay be believable in court.
I'm going to turn now, Detective, to some questions regarding witnesses who corroborate CL's testimony, okay?
Okay.
Kim, we go back because it was pretty obvious.
Told us that after purchasing the pills from acquaintance 2, she returned home to her house in Heber. She said that either later that night or the next day, the defendant met her in the driveway of that home and did a hand-to-hand exchange of pills for cash.
I'm going to turn now, Detective, to some questions
That's the eyebrow I
regarding witnesses
noticed.
who corroborate CL's testimony, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned acquaintance number 1. Have investigators interviewed acquaintance?
And excited, the big problem in all these cases is always how do the jury perceive the defendant. You could be totally innocent, but if you got a face tattoo and murderer written in your forehead because you were stupid at one point, or your friend got drunk and hold you down with his tattoo gun, the jury automatically think you did something wrong. And it's just the way it is. People look at appearances, especially if it's the first time you're in court and you're told this story. You look at a person, and if they look guilty, you're more likely to find them guilty. So we have the same. If you watch the Jody trial, the big defense lawyer, when you look at him, you think, oh, he's doing a sloppy job because he's lying down in his chair and his clothes don't fit, and appearances is just a big part of how we perceive people. And this they have to fix this facial expression before they go before the jury. I saw it in a second, and I'm looking on a small screen, but it doesn't look good when you're rolling your eyes like that.
1.
Yes.
Have you reviewed body camera, audio, and video of that interview?
Yes.
Does acquaintance 1 corroborate CL's testimony?
Morning, Wendy.
Yes. She stated that CL contacted her in early 2022 and asked for someone that could sell her fentanyl. In the body cam, she also retrieves her cell phone and shows investigators the messages that corroborated that.
And what kind of messages were they?
They were messages between acquaintance 1 and CL on Facebook Messenger app.
And have you reviewed those?
All of you friends who are pre-law, what's the first rule of doing crime? Think about it. I'm not sure I have to do a poll, but can you remember what's the first rule of being a criminal, especially on Facebook?
Those messages?
Yes.
Is the first of those messages dated February 6, 2022 at 1:37 p.m.?
Yes.
Does it read, text me, I've got a question, won't do it on this?
Yes.
That's CL writing acquaintance 1, asking acquaintance 1 to text CL because she didn't want to write over Facebook Messenger?
Correct.
Did acquaintance one say whether or not she ever, in response, contacted CL?
Yes, she said that she then either texted or called her subsequent to her request.
You testified that acquaintance two sold fentanyl pills to CL at the Maverick in Draper. Have investigators interviewed acquaintance two?
Yes,
Have you reviewed body camera audio and video of that interview?
yes, I have.
Is acquaintance two able to corroborate CL's testimony?
Yes, acquaintance two was able to recall that he sold fentanyl pills to a friend of acquaintance one's in early 2022 at a Maverick gas station in Draper.
I'm going to turn now, detective, to some forensic data questions and whether forensic data corroborates CL's narrative, okay?
Okay.
Have you reviewed carrier records of the defendant's phone?
Yes,
And I want to just clarify one thing. I'm talking right now about carrier records, different than cell data records. We'll have an expert testify about cell data records in a moment. I'm just going to ask you about the carrier records, okay?
okay.
What, if anything, do the carrier records for the defendant's phone, or what?
You can't guess. Well, we'll do a small pre-law school just to. Oh, that's a unlucky place I stopped this video. She got the mad woman face. The first rule in pre-law school is don't write about your crime on Facebook. Again, the police have a nasty habit of looking on your social media. And rule number 1.1 is never turn your phone off. If your phone is turned off, you're dead or deadening somebody. So that's the first rule, first and second rule of pre-law. Never turn your phone off and don't use Facebook to sell drugs, guns, or anything else. It seems to come back and bite you. Have a nice day, Wendy. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, we are all just pre-law because we don't need to be post-law. Just like a certain realtor from Florida, it's enough to be pre-law. Well, she rolled her eyes when she was asked when the detective told about the handoff in the driveway of CL's house. She looks up. Salvador, when you have a woman like Jody lined up, probably not the best idea to fool around. Jody can fool around. She has the special loophole, but sometimes with a girl like that, you should probably not step out on her. She have a tendency to be a bit stabby when she gets mad.
What, if anything, in the carrier records for defendant's phone corroborate CL's testimony?
The cell records from the defendant's phone show several phone calls back and forth between her and CL in early 2022.
Do they show any text messages back and forth between the defendant and CL?
Yes, several.
Have you reviewed those text messages?
We were only able to see the timestamps and who the sender and receiver was. We're not able to see the content of those messages because they appear to be deleted from both the defendant's phone and CL's phone.
Smart criminals.
Have you reviewed the call history and carrier records of CL's phone?
Yes.
Does CL's carrier records and call history corroborate CL's testimony?
Yes.
The judge in this case or the
Is there
liar
a
case?
particular set of calls on February 11th, 2022, between 5:19 p.m. and 6:52 p.m. in CL's phone history.
Yes.
Question CL regarding those calls.
Yes. She said those calls were to acquaintance two and that they were to arrange the specific date and time to pick up fentanyl in Draper.
Turning now from CL's purchasing fentanyl for the defendant to the defendant's purported timeline on the night of Eric Richins' death, okay?
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that police interactions with the defendant were captured on video. Have you reviewed that video?
Yes, I have.
Did the
I haven't
defendant
found that
provide
video.
police with a written statement in the early morning of March 4th, 2022?
Yes, she did.
Have you reviewed that statement?
Yes.
What on the early morning of Eric Richins' death did the defendant report had happened that evening?
She stated that the last time that she saw Eric alive was between 9:30 and 9:45 p.m. She stated that before going to bed, they had had a drink together to celebrate closing on a house for her business. She said that they got in bed between 9:30 and 9:45, and that shortly after getting into bed, one of the children had a nightmare, and that the defendant got out of bed and went to be with that child in their bedroom and slept in that bedroom until 3 a.m. or around 3 a.m. when she woke. She stated she returned to her own bedroom, got into bed, and felt that Eric was cold to the touch. She stated that she turned the light on, saw that he wasn't breathing and that he didn't look normal, and that she then called 911.
Did the defendant say whether anyone else was in their home other than the defendant, her husband Eric Richins, and their 3 young children?
No, she stated no one else was in the home.
Turning now to the defendant's statements regarding whether she performed CPR on her husband, okay?
Okay.
Did the defendant
Yeah, we could never do a meetup because Salvador he would run out of fluids meeting all you nice ladies. Good morning, Aaron.
tell investigators when they arrived at her home shortly after she called 911 whether or not she performed CPR on Eric Richins?
Yes, she reported that she did.
I'm going to refer to someone now as defendant's best friend. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
What, if anything, did the defendant tell her best friend regarding whether she performed CPR on Eric Richins?
Investigators found text messages between the defendant and her best friend that was her explanation to her friend that she conducted CPR on Eric prior to EMS arrival.
And do those text messages read, "I pumped so damn hard, so hard, screaming at him to come back to life"?
Yes.
I saw on the channel, which may not be mentioned, people thought that this face she just made while talking about the CPR, that it was her concealing a smile. I thought it looked like she was she was gonna cry. I didn't see her smiling. I saw her trying starting to break down. But on the other channel, they believe she was hiding a laugh.
You testified earlier, Detective, that EMS responded. Have you interviewed the first EMS responder?
Yes, I have.
What observations did that EMS responder make?
Ladies, what do you say
Told me
about her
that when they
bracelets?
arrived, they began CPR compressions on Eric, and that upon beginning those compressions, Eric began to foam at the mouth. He stated that that observation indicated that CPR was not likely conducted before he arrived.
Detective, as part of
It's hard to tell. We don't know her. We have. That's why we can't use all those body language expert, because you don't have a baseline. We don't know how she reacts and how she normally cries. But to me, it's just like the young lie girl. It looks like she don't like being told about what happened, and if that's because she did it or because she really relives the horror of the night, I don't know. But to me, it doesn't look like acting. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a stupid YouTuber, but it doesn't seem fake, and there's no jury in the room, so why should she act up if it's all for nothing? Well, Laughy Cry for said, yeah, and some people just look funny when they cry. That's why you never cry in public. Well, Jungmin, I don't know how many crimes you have committed, and I don't know how many of them you have wrote about on Facebook, but it's just in general. If, let's say, Salvador wants to give Jamie a fireplace and have a new accommodation, should he write about it on Facebook, or should he just enjoy the warmth of Jamie's attic without telling anybody, so nobody can find him? It's something to wonder about. It's pre-law school 101. Yeah, and that's the stuff. If you've seen CPR done on in a movie or on TV, you could never perform any CPR on somebody, because they're always just pumping their arms, and you have to really get in there to compress the chest cavity. So again, what's to say? But again, if he's foaming at the mouth when the CPR starts, she didn't compress him. But again, I only took the CPR when I was in the military, and that's a long time ago. Yes, I'm pre-body language. That's because I have a bad body language myself. So I'm trying to work up to being maybe a body language novice, not an expert. Good. You're ready to take pre-law 1.2, or what's it called in the US? Yeah, especially in the summer. It could get hot up there, but she likes that electric fireplace, so she have to pay for it some way. Good morning, Indigo. Welcome. Yeah, you basically break a rib. We were taught that you had to hammer the chest bone to crack it before you could really get in there. So I don't think you do that anymore. But I'm an old guy, so we learned it back when you did it hardcore. So again, she's a small woman, and if she's just seen CPR done on TV, it's nothing like trying to do it on a real person. A chest cavity is kind of hard to compress. It's almost like we are built that way to protect our organs. I don't have any dog or cat, but in a few weeks I will be dog sitting a small. It's not a newborn dog anymore, but it's a small, sweet dog. I will be having it stay with me for 2 weeks. So if I'm streaming at that time, you'll probably see it, or I'll have to bring Jamie on so we can have the dog barking in the background. Yeah, I know that they changed the CPR instructions a lot, and it's a different way to do the breathing. It's not 1, 2, 3 like we used to do it, and you have to compress a lot more now. Yeah, And my dad used to work as an ambulance driver, and as he said, would you rather have a broken rib or be dead? Well, you don't care about the broken rib if you're dead, so it's better to have the pain afterwards. Yeah, you have to switch out, especially if you're a small girl and you're trying to compress the chest of. I have seen some pictures of the husband. He looks like a pretty big guy. So if she's pumping in him, she would be tired really fast. And again, if she's not taught that you have to really get in there, it doesn't do anything. It looks good, but it doesn't change anything. Yeah, Doggo Cam, if there's anything interesting. Oh, and we have a visitor. Hi, Mo.
Yay! Oh, husband killing. Well, knew I was gonna like this one.
Yeah, you can. You weren't here for in the beginning, but again, if you have a drug addict working for you, what are the rules? Do you write them, text them, and say, "Could you get me some fentanyl?" Or do you keep it offline?
Well, has she heard of Post-it notes?
Again, maybe just don't write it down. I don't. I'm done killing people. It's been a long time, and it's water under the bridge. But again, don't write it on Facebook, and don't ask your friend who's a drug addict who could possibly be made a promise that if you talk, we'll make your sentence a bit sweeter.
Okay, broken. He is not a drug addict. He is simply an unlicensed street pharmacist.
Yeah, like in the Anderson case where everybody worked in medical and everybody looked like they used medicals.
To be fair, I always loved my old doctor who used to be a little bit, let's say, also fluffy. And he's like, you need to lose weight. And I'm like, sir, I can smell that you smoke. You look like you also drink bourbon straight out the bottle. Like, look, me and little Debbie's, we've got some breaking up to do, but I I need you to maybe have some other ideas.
And pear-shaped is a shape too. That's my excuse. And of course, Mass, we always ask our local drug provider, Jamie, if we need any specifics. Jamie, do you run your business via Facebook or how do you get in contact? I know your clientele is upscale. It's not just some random who wants to kill his or her wife or husband.
Also, did she not have any lie at home and
Yeah.
or eye drops?
Oh, eye drops. I haven't heard about that. I thought that would have made you go to the toilet fast.
Well, I think if you put the whole okay, this is allegedly and only what I've learned from YouTube, so but I've heard that those can be quite toxic or
Hey,
antifreeze.
Lefty.
What the heck? I need all of you people. Doesn't everyone else just not round out their general universal knowledge with true crime things?
Well, it's like I said, all of us are pre-law, so we don't know anything. We're just learning by watching all those people who went to school and are very smart. And
Yes.
maybe we pick up something along the way of what you should or shouldn't do in case your husband or wife gets a bit annoying.
Is this the one where she wrote the grief book too?
It's the one where she wrote, and I tried to pull up uh, somewhere I could buy it to show it to people, but it's disappeared from Amazon. It's named "Are You With Me?" And it's a small child playing soccer with the dad behind a cloud with angel wings. So yeah, that's the children's book author.
Kim, I will look into that. I don't know. YouTube isn't sending out notifications for my chat. I will look into that on my master YouTube ninja page while I'm right here. But I don't know what YouTube is doing or not doing, but let me check and make sure that I've done nothing on my end. It's been happening to a couple different people. You might see if you're in all chat versus top chat. That's the only thing I know of any value.
Yeah, and again, we are small. We don't have the big following, so why are our chats not showing up? There's sometimes when I'm sitting writing all my intelligence stuff in Dave's chat, and nobody reacts to it, and then after maybe 5 minutes, everybody starts, "Hey, hello, Baker," and it's I don't know.
Okay, for some reason, you were in a silence thing. I have no idea. I have not even gone into that part, but I have unsilenced you.
I don't know
I
why
am
I do that.
sorry. I don't know if I fat fingered something or what have you. So I apologize.
Yeah, and that's the big problem with this YouTube thing. Also, do you remember the other day where David tried to play the chat and it wouldn't, no, the stream, and it wouldn't start day 2, I think, in the lie case. That morning, I think I tried to rewatch David's night stream. It's night my time most of the time. You and him go live, and I think I had to try it maybe 7 or 8 times before it kicked in. So YouTube is strange sometimes, but we can't complain. We're not paying for sitting here and talking, so
I
we're
know.
just happy they let us be on.
I'd have to be doing more laundry, which I'd much rather deal with crazy lady who texted fentanyl. For the love of all that is holy, woman.
And like I always say, when not always, but a lot of the times when we are in court doing my layman duty, the customers are not the smartest people, and they keep coming back for more. But this one is looking at 25 to life, so she's probably not coming back.
Well, I do wonder, so play it out in your mind. I mean, she had to play out or maybe I just overthink everything, but I think, okay, this guy's going to double cross me. He's got all these things. I tell no one what I'm doing.
No, and again, why write to anyone? And she was smart. She said, "I have to ask you something. Call me." So, but again, you're dealing with a drug addict, and as we saw in my Adam Montgomery case, everybody wants to sing if there's a prize for singing.
Yes.
When the reward hit 40K, everybody sung, and then everybody knew where Harmony, not where she was, but who disappeared her. So this is it's just so stupid. But again, most of the time, I think it's because people think they are very intelligent, that and everybody else is just too stupid to understand them, and they can talk them around corners, like the ninja guy. The 2 ninjas who just randomly broke into his house and threatened to kill him and his family. Yeah, sounds believable. And at some point, some of those words has to pass by the brain. Not all of them. I know people who don't have the mouth-brain connection, but some of them, he was a lawyer. He probably learned to think at some point.
You'd think, but let's continue. I'm sure she's looking pious here for a while.
Well, it's nice to be woken up. I don't know what time it is at your. It's like 9. You're
It's
9:30.
9:30.
Yeah. So 3 hours of sleep. Who needs more? Yeah, and she could have went to the hood and bought stuff of persons she never seen before and who wouldn't remember her. And if she was lucky, he was being found in an alley with an OD 2 weeks later.
Okay.
But again,
Best case, it's Utah. It's the middle of winter. Everyone needs antifreeze. You get 1 jug, you buy it with the rest of your groceries, you have it out in the garage, you slowly, allegedly, because it is sweet to the taste and you don't notice it, start putting it in the Gatorade. I'm just saying. People.
Yeah, and remember, Mo is on her second husband. Nothing, not that we are implying anything, but
they don't look until number. Hey, Y'all, I didn't write a damn book about it, okay? I was
Yeah, you're smart.
trying to.
Well, let's jump into it and see if her. I don't know if you saw it before, but she rolled her eyes when they talked about her getting the drugs. So she has a very expressive face, and that's probably not a good thing when you're going to court. Yeah,
Look,
we love Mo, and I'm just happy I got a very big ocean between me and her.
I'm not saying I would do it. I'm just saying there are 973 other different, better ways I could have done it than Chick asking unlicensed, unregulated pharmacist from the street to procure stuff on a text damn message.
We take
Your
a
investigation.
few minutes more, and
Did you
then we
look
can
into
talk if there's
whether
an
Eric Richins
interesting.
used illicit drugs?
Yes.
What did you determine?
Based on the interviews that we conducted with those who knew Eric well, all stated that he did not use illicit drugs other than consuming THC gummies on occasion.
I'll allow it.
Those that you spoke to include Eric's two best friends that he's known since high school?
Yes, both made the same statement that they never knew Eric to use any illicit substances other than the THC gummies.
When I reference a hunting guide in Mexico by the initials TR, do you know who I'm referring to?
Yes.
Did you speak to this hunting guide?
Other Summit County detectives did, yes.
And what did this hunting guide, if anything, say about Eric Richins using illicit drugs while hunting in Mexico?
The guide told detectives that several of their clients, when they come to Mexico, will seek out someone that can put them in contact with illicit substances while they're down there for their hunt. He stated that Eric Richins was not one of these, that Eric was solely focused on the hunt.
Has the defendant made any statements regarding whether her husband, Eric Richins, used illicit drugs other than THC?
Yes, in several statements made by the defendant throughout the investigation, there
That
have been
whole
at
family
least
has shocked
10
eyebrows.
times that she has said that Eric
Yeah,
does not use illicit substances and did not use illicit substances
And no eyebrows.
And just to be clear,
And
other
asleep.
than
other than the THC gummies, correct?
on the night Eric Richins
And a lot of
died,
gum.
did investigators search the Richins home?
Yes.
Did they find any illicit drugs?
No.
Did they find any paraphernalia or
we have to
packaging
buy
or
a
evidence
rubber
of
thing
illicit
for
drugs?
Salvador, I
No.
think.
Did they find fentanyl anywhere in the home?
Only that which was in Eric's body.
So is the fentanyl what sparked this whole
I'm
investigation?
going to now shift, Detective, from
I haven't
The night
looked
about-
into anything because, like you, I just want to go in raw and say,
Phrasing, damn it. Damn it, Salvador, you've broken us.
yeah,
But yeah, that's
I
kind of-
blame Salvador. I was a nice guy before I met Salvador.
I have these notes and I'm like, what did they clue into as to, because wasn't he dead for a hot, like 2 years or so?
No. It's pretty recent. It was
Oh.
last year.
And she
February
fucking wrote a,
2022 was
effing
when
wrote
she-
a book?
Yeah, she's an entrepreneur.
Lady, you pretend to grieve for about 2.5 years and then you write a daggone for the why?
I saw something about some exotic traveling too, and going to Spain and going to, but I tried to keep my mind open and not get
Good idea.
too much into the trial because I just looked up how long she probably have to spend time as a visitor of the state, but I didn't want to go into it way too much because then you start to form opinions and look for those opinions to be confirmed when listening to this. But again, it was pretty raw. I think it's a year before.
Okay, I hadn't paid attention to this. I'm pulling the Delphi case is just all the rabbit holes of everything because it's been in the internet for 7 years. So you have every single person that has a YouTube channel has their own theory, and then the way the state has handled the case, it's just all the things.
Yeah, and like you sent me the one, the case about Harmony. I can see the one had a playlist, an hour wasn't enough to watch all her videos, and I think the big problem with us watching all this behind the scenes and all these opinions before watching the actual tapings, we get the confirmation bias. We want to stop when they say, "Oh, look, I know she bought the drugs with this person, and maybe we're not open-minded enough." So I like to just do a very small amount of background on the cases, and then go in and see what do they present in court. Because as I said before you came on, us watchers are we are possible a jury. We could be the person sitting here listening to it, and how would we react? Again, if I watched you talk about the Delphi case, as of course I do, everybody should go follow Mo and watch her coverage. She has a habit of doing it at a strange hour, so I have to be on the rewatch crew. But she covers some different cases too, and I have to say, well, you have an opinion, and you and I talking will give some opinion. But I like that we can make up our own minds. I love that Farrell was against all the people in the chat in the lie case. She all the way through. She went guilty, 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 and most of us were swayed by this young girl crying all the time, and that's the thing. And
I was more swayed with the okay, this is gonna sound mean, but it doesn't mean to be mean. She probably threw everything that was there, and if the house was that grody, she just threw stuff. Not a one of them used lye to clean that bathtub, according to anyone.
no,
So he's probably probably got a big old lot at, an auction. He just bought like someone's storage facility. They had a bunch of cleaning supplies.
I love this chat. I was wondering, should I go on because no of the big law tubers is on. I thought I could fill a little spot, and you just make my day better. It's so nice to have people in the chat because sometimes you're just talking to this stupid camera and thinking, why? But with this funny chat, it's always nice to do it.
Yes.
So,
So is this a hearing to see what they're allowing into the case? Is this
no, this is a bail hearing. It was
okay.
it's 2 or 3 days old, but I thought, well, I didn't watch it, and my sister asked if I had looked into it because as every middle-aged woman, she's interested in true crime. As I told Jamie earlier, it's catnip for middle-aged women.
As a woman of uncertain vintage, that may or may not be true.
Yeah, but I can see the makeup of the chat when I see my analytics, and I have a lot of women when I'm doing this chat. And then we have Salvador, and Salvador is here because there's a lot of women.
Well, he is smart.
He's not. He knows where to show up. Let's say that.
Yes.
So, but let's get again. We're 23 minutes in and have been streaming for over an hour, so they can't say that we're just rerunning
a
it.
Second drug buy initiated before his death and concluded after his death. Okay.
Okay.
What, if anything, did CL tell you about the defendant approaching CL a second time for fentanyl?
CL told us that approximately a week after delivering fentanyl, the defendant reached out to her again by text or call and said that she wanted some more fentanyl that was stronger than the previous batch.
And in response, what, if anything, did CL do?
CL told us that she again reached out to acquaintance 1 because she had lost the phone number for acquaintance 2 and again requested from acquaintance 1 that she provide her with the phone number for acquaintance 2. She also made other statements in Facebook messages.
So for the last 2
regarding
years,
that
Indigo,
request.
that's not long. Just wait till you get old, then it's gonna be a habit for you.
In your interview, or detective's interview rather, with acquaintance 1, did she corroborate that indeed CL reached back out to her asking for acquaintance 2's phone number?
Yes, in the same Facebook Messenger, it showed the 2 different contacts on the 2 different dates.
And does the second Facebook message, was it dated February 25th, 2022 at 9:40 p.m.?
Yes,
And does it read, I need those again, but more, and I don't got a ride, I lost your friend's number?
correct.
She wanted to talk to the manager.
Yeah.
Did CL and acquaintance
No
1 both say
way.
that
23 maybe.
acquaintance 1 provided CL with acquaintance 2's phone number again?
Yes.
What then, if anything, did CL do with acquaintance 2's phone number the second time?
CL told us that she again contacted acquaintance 2 and arranged again to meet up at the same Maverick gas station in Draper to purchase again 15 to 30, this time blue round pills that she understood to be fentanyl.
Blue pills. They don't put you down, they put you up.
Between
That's how she got him
on
to
the
take
way
it.
to the Draper and Maverick,
Yeah.
the second
Like,
time,
no, honey, 4 of them.
when
We'll
she
have all the
purchased
fun.
15, I'm sorry, did you say 15 to 30? What,
Yes, 15 to 30 pills.
which she believed to be fentanyl. Did she make any stops along the way?
Yes, CL told us that the second time that she procured fentanyl for the defendant, she did not have a vehicle to drive on that date. She said that she reached out to a friend, acquaintance 3, and asked that he give her a ride to go purchase fentanyl. She said that he did pick her up, that they traveled from Heber City to the defendant's home in Francis, where, according to CL, the defendant had told her there was a check waiting under the mat at the defendant's home. She said that she checked under the mat and didn't find a check. And so she knocked on the defendant's door, and the defendant came to the door and wrote
You
her
better
a check
stop
from her
making those
business, from the
faces
defendant's
when the
business,
jury's in
for
there.
$1,300 for the purchase of the fentanyl.
Well, if this is a bail hearing, the
CL
jury's
told
not
us
there.
that
No, but I
afterwards,
say you
they
better
Oh,
when
drove
well,
to
I'm
the
sure
America First Credit Union in
her
Heber
lawyer
City,
looks super
where
angry
where
lady
CL banks,
to me.
and cashed the check
she can make
and
you
deposited
real small
$300
with just
of
a
it into
look.
her account at America First
She can
Credit
look
Union.
disappointed. I believe that.
She said that after stopping at the bank and
Her
getting the
husband
cash,
takes out the trash
they then drove
immediately.
to the Maverick gas station in Draper.
Maybe
and
I need to
purchased the
draw my
pills from
eyebrows angrier.
acquaintance 2.
That's the problem.
Did investigators execute a warrant at the America First
Alligators.
Credit Union?
This heifer
Maybe-
wrote a check. I am all the
Yes,
way
and
done with
that
this
warrant
woman.
returned
Jesse
a copy
Smollett
of the
to
check written from the defendant's business account in the name of CL, and a receipt that shows that it was cashed and that $300 were deposited into CL's account.
Well, we have to. You weren't here in the start. CL works for her. She's a cleaning lady. She apparently has some buildings that CL cleans for her, and she cleans the house. So the reason she writes her a check could be something just like, well, she's being paid for working. So
yeah, but still,
yeah, again, if you're gonna do something stupid, don't write stupid things down. And again, if you're gonna go for a sub at 2 a.m. in the middle of a snowstorm in Chicago, don't give your Nigerian white supremacists a check. It's, again, we are pre-law, but we're still pretty smart people.
I mean, you can plausibly deny it away, but it looks sketchy.
Yeah, because you can say, well, I was just paying her for working. But again, you have CL, and CL is singing, and that's a problem. And yeah, or
She's like,
for
poor
crimes.
husband.
Yeah. There's something about a life insurance too, and that always makes it look a bit suspicious. But I don't think he's going to testify about it. But I read somewhere online that there's something about a life insurance too. So she's all the kinds of stupid, I think.
And then CL,
We have a law in Denmark that if you take out above a certain amount in cash, you have to tell to the bank, what do you think, what do you want to spend this on, because to make sure you're not washing money for some illegal purpose or anything like that. And a guy said to the bank, well, I'm just going to use it on partying and hookers. And I think he lost his account at the bank because he was just like, you shouldn't care about it. It's like maybe $3,000 or something he took out. And he just said, mind your own business. And he lost his bank account. So it's so stupid that you can't say anything funny. I understand you can't say bomb in an airport, but again, you can't say drugs and horse for $3,000. I could lend my kids that amount if they need it for a car or something. Should I say, well, because technically we have to make a gift. I don't know what you would call it for tax purposes. You have to say, well, I'm gifting my kid this money, but if it's just a loan, that's why should I tell the bank, well, my daughter is having to pay the first payment on a new apartment, so I lent her the money. And
Well, that seems reactionary in regards to something. Did you guys have a lot of trafficking, like, or money laundering that was a problem?
we are in the EU. We love laws. More laws,
Oh,
better laws, every time. And we had
fun.
our biggest bank called Danske Bank had some problems with affiliate of those in Lithuania laundered money. So everything blew up, and we are a socialist country. So if banks do anything, it's because they're just greedy pigs who want to steal from the poor, and we have to protect the poor by making even more rules that you have to pay the bank to manage.
Sounds It
It's
does not sound
socialist heaven.
circular. It does not sound circular at all.
Nope, no. It's making reasons all the time. That's yeah. Yeah, and you will never take a flight again, I believe. Well, uneducated people, that's us. We're just pre-education. Yeah. And that's a stupid thing, because when my sister sends me money from Switzerland, if I bought something for her and she has to reimburse me, I got a notification. Do you know somebody abroad sending you money? Because Switzerland is outside of the EU. So I get a notification from the bank saying you got like $100. I was just like, how many times do you do this every day, and how much do I have to pay to have somebody tell me some money came into my account from abroad? As long as you stop it when people abroad steal money from my account, I'm happy every time people pay me.
That is very interesting.
Sarah, that's the stupid part. I can go down and say, well, I'm renovating my home. I'm gonna paint my entire home, and I'm gonna build something. So I need 100K in cash, and then I could go call CL and say, CL, I need a connection for some blue pills. I'm gonna have a good weekend, so I need 2 kinds of blue pills, and nobody could stop me. It's just rules, because we live in a socialist paradise, and we need rules because we are trusting people and we trust rules. So every time Bernie Sanders said, do just like Scandinavia, maybe look into what Scandinavia does, and we have tons of rules. It's amazing.
Okay. Yeah, as a person who has to live with these giant morons who are like, but everyone else has health care. And I'm like, because America's the one with the army.
Again, if you, I don't know what your tax systems, and I know it's different from state to state. I pay 42% on everything I earn, at least 42%, and everything I buy has a value-added tax of 25%.
You
Everything.
try to
So
explain that to a person though, and they're like, but free. And I'm like, no, you don't. This word doesn't mean what you think it means.
no, and I lost my mom and dad in a very short period, and I'm not the biggest fan of our system because when my mom was very sick with cancer, because my dad used to be an EMT, well, couldn't you just give her the shots? Couldn't you just take a little? You know how to take care of a person. So he was left alone with a wife of 42 years dying of cancer, and he had to give her the shots. He had to try to feed her and stuff like that. So free healthcare is very good at some points. I got a bad back surgery that left me on disability, and that's okay. I get around every month from the state. I'm happy. I'm happy that people go to work and help me out that way. That's amazing. I can't complain about that. But when I see old people in old people home who can't get the necessary care because, well, we have a lot of things to use money on. It makes me
It's
kind of sad that because we pay more and more each year and we get less and less each year, and that's the problem with free everything.
well, every order of operations, the more you complicate it, the more inefficient it is. Welcome to economy tech.
Yeah, and Mads, why haven't anything in kommuner, stat, regioner been better or cheaper after we put in any computers? It's only been worse. We need experts to do everything for the people who work for the government now because they can't use IT. And I'm sitting here, I'm talking to Mo. I don't even know where in the US you live. I have right now about
Indiana.
20 people watching this show from all over the world. We can do that, but they can't have a meeting in my small 50,000 people city without the need to meet somewhere and then have everything done. They can't do it online. It's impossible. It's totally impossible.
Look, the best and brightest do not run our bureaucracies. And if I ever meet Lenin, which I don't know that I will because I'm pretty sure we're going opposite places,
You
I
go into the one place.
well, I'm just hoping I get to tattoo bureaucracy is the price that we pay for impartiality on some part of his hide because the man created the bureaucracy and I cannot with him.
Yeah, excited. And if you want to buy a car in Denmark, you have the price of the car, and then before you can sell it, they add 180% tax on it, just to pay for our roads. But our roads are free, except the bridges. We pay for the bridges, the Big Belt Bridge, which we should have paid out for years ago. But then they found out it's a big cash cow, so they just extend that one, even though we're paying 180% plus. So again, we have it great, and I'm happy for the things I can do in Denmark, but I can see faults in the system too. Yeah, I think our social the rules for the social workers, if they want to help people, it's more than 30,000 pages they have to write, go through the rules. So again, when Trump said that your tax system should be easy enough that you could write it on the back of a postcard, that's the best idea I heard in a long time, because I can subtract so much and then I have to pay for so much more. So it's yeah, it's infuriating at sometimes, but we are Danes, we love the system. We invented the welfare state. So
Blink if you're in a hostage situation. We will send
no,
someone over
no,
there.
I'm happy.
That's like Theresa May's Eid speech. If you watch her, I was like, ma'am, do you need help?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, don't
It's
numbers
a
me.
progressive scale that you have to
Oh,
put
fun.
in.
It's numbers escape me, and it's all vagaries, and I can see good points, and I can see the idealistic good qualities that each system tries to provide, but then it gets lost in translation.
That's the big problem. Is the state isn't evil, but it's just covering it its own ass so much that it have to make all these checks and balances, and then they lose the important part that they are working for us. And I think
Yes.
you don't have to be a Republican, a Democrat, every, as we say in Denmark, everybody is a social democrat in Denmark. We just have different parties we vote for, but it doesn't matter, because when the state gets too big, it forgets who pays for it, and it's the same all over the world. It's not the it's nothing special for our country or for the U.S. It's just the way it is.
I tried to explain to my mother that I was no longer I'm conservative leaning, but I'm more of a minarchist. And she's like, "What, you want a king?" And I was like, "No. I want as minimal a government as possible. Everything localized as much as possible, because again, you get inefficient."
Yeah, and that's I did 4 years in our local city council, and I was young and full of ideas. I wanted to do everything, and the first lesson I had to learn is going into this system. You're not sailing a speedboat. You're sailing a very big oil tanker, and oil tankers take years to slow down and turn around. And that's the big problem, because you have a maverick like Cruz or Trump, or I don't really know about DeSantis, but he had some wild ideas, or Bernie Sanders, to take both sides of the system. But they have to do with a 200-year-old system where everybody is having their small piece of the pie, and that's the big problem in politics. That, well, if I have to give you 2%, I need 2.5%, because I'm giving you something. And it's those backrooms dealing that make everything complicated, because if Utah needs something and Wisconsin needs something, and you have to get it from Delaware, well, Delaware needs something from South Carolina, and it just muddles the water. It's so stupid. But again, it's politics, and especially American politics. I'm surprised the amount of money you can make on those shitty salaries, because I got maybe around 2,000. No, not 2,000 a month for being in politics, and I really didn't make any money. But again, I wasn't doing any legislation to help somebody or hurt somebody. But
How dare you impugn our millionaires, public servants that got all that money later?
I love what's her name from New York, the Latina,
Oh,
the bar girl.
AOC.
Yeah, I love her. Oh, I'm fighting for the poor. Well, I need some money to pay for my apartment. Yeah, you get your money and you get the stipend. Yeah, I need a good apartment. And now she's a millionaire again.
Broken. Do you know what she got her degree in?
She's economics, math,
Yeah,
economics.
that chick got an economics degree with a
Well,
minor in international politics. But then, when asked on PBS, our sort of liberal kind of talking place, or just a friendly kind of softball question about Jerusalem, she's like, "Look, I don't really understand like the world politicky stuff." I was like, "Oh, for F's sake."
we have a PM right now. She's a she's a very strong lady. She liked the lockdowns a lot, because you didn't really have to listen to anyone else. but she got a major in, I believe, Africa studies. What?
Seems employable.
Yeah, well, she's been in politics for I would say 20 years, and
But
she's
not in
not
Kenya?
running to be the new head of NATO. Just because she visited Biden last week, she's not in the running to be the new chief of NATO. She would never go after that position. It's the big thing in the media because she's really wanting to go. The government we have right now is just it's a shit show. So we have the last election we had 14 parties you could vote for, and 13 of those got in, and there wasn't a clear red or blue, as we say, socialist or liberal government. So now we have the Liberal Party, the Social Democrat Party, and somebody who calls themselves the moderates, which is the middle of liberal and socialist, going together in a government, and they don't do anything other than just keeps getting in each other's ways. So I believe our PM is very happy if she could go to NATO and just get away and get the big paycheck. She's been in politics for more than
Americans,
20 years.
when you say that we need more than two parties, this is what happens when you have a parliamentary system. You're going to have Justin Trudeau, the Greens, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez,
Veto.
cobbling together a freaking coalition government of stupid. So stop.
Yeah, and
We have
I like it that you can find somebody to vote for, but the problem is when it's on the national level, they all just want power. So, but that was politics. Politics, we are pre-politics today, so everybody just got their pre-degree in politics. Now we're going back to
international studies, politics, and economics. You are all pre those.
yeah. So now you can run for Senate or the House. I can't. I don't really understand the difference of those, but
House. So think of the House is like the House of Commons, if you will. So it's supposed to be the everyday man, whereas the Senate was supposed to be just picked by the state
yeah,
kind of leadership. So it's more to be like a House of Lords, if you will.
yeah, yeah. We went away from the two-party system, two-chamber system more than 100 years ago, because we had the farmers and the small people, and then the big wealthy people in another chamber. So we went away from that, and now we have what's called the Folketing, and it's just 179 people only working for the best of all of us Danes, and we're happy. We love rules. We love Folketinget.
That sounds
Let's get
very
back to the
bad.
court before I get deported.
Ultimately,
I was about to say.
being driven by acquaintance 3 in
I have to go to the small
sorry,
boys'
the
room.
Maverick in Draper
Oh,
and
okay.
purchased fentanyl a second time
You,
from
you have the
acquaintance.
con.
Correct.
Oh, this is a terrible
What, if
idea.
anything, does acquaintance 2 say that corroborates CL's testimony?
Acquaintance 2 in his interview stated that he remembered selling fentanyl to a friend of Acquaintance 1's on 2 separate occasions at the same Maverick gas station in Draper. He
Okay,
also
I am
said that he
maybe
remembered
a
the
sweet
second
summer
time
child, but
that
I
he
thought
sold her the
fentanyl,
pills,
like even a little grain of sand
that
of fentanyl would
CL
like
was with
you'd
another
be
person
unalived by
who matched
12.
the age and gender of
So
Acquaintance
how
3.
is she getting 30 pills?
Have you interviewed acquaintance 3?
Yes.
Yes, Aaron, he did.
What, if anything, does acquaintance 3 say to corroborate CL's testimony?
Acquaintance 3 corroborated all the same details that CL told us about that day, and in fact showed us text messages on his phone that also corroborated that story.
Detective, I'm going to ask you now some questions about what are commonly known as bug out bags, okay?
Okay.
Did investigators execute several search warrants on the defendant's home or the family home?
Yes.
Did those warrants identify what are commonly known as bug out bags?
Yes. There were several duffel bags stored in the garage, along with backpack-sized day packs, and each was identical and labeled for a different member of the Richins family. Those backpacks were seized subject to a warrant and were inventoried and photographed. Inside the bags, detectives located several items that would be useful in an emergency situation. But the most interesting were documents needed for travel for each member of the family. Each bag contained a photocopy of a state-issued ID in the children's case,
Don't roll your eyes.
along with passports for
They're not
Eric
considered
and
bug
the
out bags.
defendant,
So
as well as global entry travel
In-
cards for both Eric and the
when
defendant.
COVID went out, people, and I
Did
believe
those
that
bags also
Latter-day
contain
Saints are big
clothing,
into the prepping,
toiletries?
so they probably made like emergency bags. So if there's a tornado, if there's a hurricane, not likely in Utah, but anything else, people make bags. They make emergency bags. I mean, I'm not going to find that too crazy.
No, and if her sons played soccer and went to a soccer camp in Spain or something like that, probably they travel a lot. And I keep my passport at a certain place so I can leave because I go to Switzerland once or twice a year to visit my sister, and it's just normal that you have all those things you need, and if you have some foreign cash or something, you keep it at the same place, so you are sure that you can find it when you're going next time. So
That's what I would think, but
I washed both of them. I'm not that sloppy. I'm not the one who has lie in my bathroom. It's just slander. I'm sorry David isn't showing up because I'm gonna have to get an attorney because this is slanderous.
well, we pay him a monthly membership fee, and I have interpreted that to mean a retainer.
Yeah, it's just like law of self-defense. If you pay for that, you can call him anytime, or your lawyers
I don't
can.
know. I don't know that I would want to call him. He seems like he'd tell me a whole lot of truth I don't need to hear right now.
This chat, it's Friday, I know, and in Denmark it's 4:00, so we could start doing things that we should normally wait for, but it's yeah.
My husband just texted me. He was trying to call, and I was like, "I'm on a stream. What do you need?" And he sent me a picture. Apparently, at his work, one of his teammates or coworkers has placed little green army men on his divider, so he needs a bag of tan army men to counter this aggressive movement.
Sure. Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
well, thanks for thinking of like he doesn't have Amazon on his own doggone computer or phone. He's like, but you know how to work it better.
I used to be married. I know that a certain sex has a predisposition for shopping, and it's not my sex.
No.
But again, it's 2023, so it could be any sex or no sex. It's whatever you make it.
So I do understand her kind of eye rolling with now they're trying to make them look like bug out bags when it's simply, I mean, Utah has floods, they have snow. You may not be able to get electricity to your house. So I understand why they're putting it in a terrible light. But it does make me giggle a little.
Yeah, and again, it's everything in court sounds like a bad idea or only something shady people would do. Again, having a small amount of cash on hand somewhere safe. And Luna, no, I won't tell you where my emergency money and bag are because I trust you 100%, just like I trust the government. I don't have a large boys' room. I only have a small boys' room.
And he has to pay 40% tax on that too.
Yeah, it's the smaller the better. That's my Back to the stream.
Is that kind of thing.
Yes.
This is
Would
getting out of
detectives
hand.
know when those bags were packed?
No.
And there was a bag for Eric as well, is that right?
Correct.
I look forward to hearing
I
this
have no
defense
further
lawyer.
questions for you. Mr. Lazar on mine. Thank you.
Oh, she's coming on now. She looks like someone who could get really tough. And she's a tall
She has-
one.
And she's wearing all the high heels, and she's a left-handed woman,
Dali,
and
down.
her eyebrows are extra angry today.
Detective, it's O'Driscoll, right?
Correct.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to follow a little bit the same timeline just so,
My card was hacked a couple of months back. It took me 6 weeks to get a new card, and every time I have to withdraw money from the bank, it took like 15 minutes. So you always pull out a large amount because you don't want to do it too much. And at the same time, I was going to get this tattoo done, and tattoos are a bit expensive. So I had a lot of free cash lying around in the house. I don't like having that amount of money, but I found out it's necessary to have some money at hand. Yeah.
Her lawyers are probably going to tell her.
Yeah, and the problem is there's no one there yet. But again, if you live in Utah and this is the big headline news, and you have to go in for jury duty in maybe 6 months or whenever this goes before the court. Have you seen any of this coverage and seen this? You have an idea about how this lady is, and you'll be looking for it every second you are on in the jury box, especially if there's one of those where you can't take notes.
Yeah, my lawyer would have to get me a big old pad and just say, you are only writing notes. Your face is all capital letters, and you just need to not look at people and write notes.
As I told David, the one where we did about the differences in court systems, I'm very, very aware of what I'm doing with my face when I'm on trial, because I can't show anything, in my opinion. There's no rules against it, but I think you have to be as impartial looking as possible when you're told these stories. Sometimes you hear stories where you just want to laugh, but you can't do that because it's a solemn duty that we're doing. But a lot of people have a way to show their feelings on their face, and sometimes it's good to have a big old choppy face with not too many emotions on it. Yeah, who knows? A lot of women like electric fireplace, and if you have to pay with a little space in the attic where you have a McDonald's pea cup, well, that's just the way it is. And maybe some photos but again, if you're selling things online, what's a little photo in the night? Some people just get way upset with that. I don't know who Dr. G is. Is that some body language expert? Yeah, and it's sad for people who has a face that just looks like they're gonna attack you in a second. It could be the nicest people, and I have the same problem. If people bore me, I'm looking like I'm about to go buy some blue pills. Oh, a body language expert, and body language expert are just like, oh, look who's coming. Look who's dark on the screen.
Hey,
You are
You-
not
you-
showing
you-
up. We can hear you.
Yeah. Hello.
I hear you guys fine. Let me
Yeah, we
try.
can't see you.
I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll just maybe some of And now she left. She got angry. She didn't want to show her face.
She's like, y'all promised like 5 minutes ago to stay on topic, and
It's yeah. But again, we are post boomers pre-law.
pretty much.
And I plead the fifth. That's my favorite amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Yes.
But I'm an older gentleman. Oh, back to you're getting way off track now.
Together, you said you reviewed the body cam that was provided on the night that Eric passed away, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that
It's the
Kouri
one,
made a
if you
statement
search online,
that
it's the
night,
first one that pops up.
written statement.
Correct.
And she told them that she had made a drink, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so they were aware of that. Was there anything in that body cam or investigation that talks about them looking for a glass that a drink had been made?
My first name is Mads, just like the other Dane, like this guy. It's spelled that way, but it's pronounced Mads, not the D. The D is always silent if you are from the part of Denmark where I'm from.
No.
But you said that they searched for illicit drugs, correct?
Correct.
I don't know if they searched for illicit drugs, but they searched the home.
Okay, so they searched the home that night, knowing that he had a drink right before he went to bed, and made no note that they had recovered glasses, looked for glasses, anything along those lines, correct?
Not to my understanding.
She has a rest in peace face too.
You also testified that when you interviewed CL, she was working on both a personal and, I'm going to say, professional capacity for Kouri, correct?
Correct.
And she was cleaning houses, that she was both cleaning Kouri's personal home, and then she would clean homes that were investment properties, correct?
CL told us that she cleaned both homes for Miss Richins' business, as well as at another time frame, she cleaned their personal home.
Okay.
So not necessarily at the same time.
But at the time, she was cleaning homes.
Jamie, it's okay if your customers doesn't want to be on camera. We can have you on without the camera.
For the business, correct?
Which time are you referring to?
On or about the time leading up to or during your
Now we know she's a lawyer because
investigation,
she said on or
end
about.
of the year,
Yeah.
end of 2021, beginning of 2022.
What, if anything,
At
and
that
on and
time,
about?
from my understanding, what CL told us, she was cleaning only investment properties belonging to the Richins Realty Company.
And she was getting compensated for that, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and so the check that you issued the search warrant on for the bank, that was written from Kouri's business account, correct?
correct.
Okay, so it could very well be that Kouri was paying her for cleaning houses, correct?
Look, y'all, I just
don't
learned
wanna
I before E
speculate,
except after C,
but
and the 800
could
different
be.
things.
It's
Spelling
Despite
is not
what
my
CL said,
friend.
correct?
I'm dyslexic in every language.
You also testified that
Same.
CL was progressing through her drug court program and you were optimistic about how she would do in it, correct?
No, I testified that she was optimistic about her own
I'm
personal
sorry if I
recovery.
misstated that. How long were you investigating CL? When did you begin investigating CL?
I don't know an exact date, but the beginning of 2023.
She has some odd facial tics.
And were you
Yeah.
monitoring what she was doing at that time?
Yes,
Because you knew she had a boyfriend or this guy in Vegas, some other details about her life, correct?
It's like Chandler
So of
Remington has the
investigating
stuff with
CL,
her lips.
No, we didn't know all those details.
But over the course of your investigation, you learned them.
Correct.
But she said when she doesn't think about it,
Did
it's
you
get more
you have
pronounced.
CL's phone?
She does it all the time when she
Summit
stops
County Sheriff's
talking.
Office evidence text too.
But you've reviewed it.
Yes.
And you testified about text messages between CL and the defendant on or about this time period you're looking at in February, correct?
Correct.
Did you review any other information prior to that time about contact that CL and the defendant had had?
It worked.
Hey,
Hi.
I'm unsure.
you are joining us on the perfect time in our pre-law, post-politics, and post, what was it, economics and world?
Yes.
Yeah, we got all the degrees right now.
Yeah, you do. I was listening and I was like, "Meh, I got nothing to add."
You have your good sense of humor to add, and that's the most important part.
That's all I do.
What do you think
Oh,
about
that-
this so far? All the 35 minutes we've done in almost 2 hours.
I know. It's like 3 hours and he's got like 30
We're only doing the first witness today, and there's some odd break in after about an hour. There's some odd break where we can skip some way into it, but
Yeah, I mean,
I think Mass refers to Chandra Remington. She has this. She's pouting her lips when she's. She said it's a tick, and she doesn't think about it. But if you watch her streams, or if she's on with Jeff or someone else, she has a tendency to pout her lips. Like
I guess I never noticed.
Well, it's a kind of an odd facial tick, but this lawyer, what?
she called it out on her stream one time because I think somebody in the chat said something. And
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
what she said.
Yeah, and this lawyer, every time she stops talking, she's just like she have to chew something nasty.
yeah. She
And
doesn't look like a happy woman. She needed, Jamie, we need to send her to like happy eyebrow
Yeah.
makeup woman.
I want the 90s back with the surprised triangle shape.
It was sharp.
No.
I was really
Look,
thin.
my natural eyebrows
That's
are barely
the disgust. That's why she does
twins.
it with the lips.
Shave them off and make me draw both of them back on. We're going to end up with distant relations.
Oh,
Well,
that boy's tattooed.
I'm not sure what she have done with it, but I'm just wondering: is it a nose job or is it not a nose job?
I don't know.
You got the small bump in the top, but it's very, very
She just looks
narrow.
very severe.
Yeah, and when she looks at you and said, "Was that all with this look?" You're gonna go home to mama and cry and say, "Well, I tried my best."
Oh my God. We had the 1950s lawyer and then this chick.
yeah, that hairdo and his yeah. He looks like he's in a gangster movie. Yet Chandler is pre-law too, so yeah, she should join all us amateurs on LawTube. LayTube, as Mo calls it. We have our own spot on the internet.
We are tangentially affiliated, but not tangentially associated, but not affiliated with LawTube.
Well, more fun.
Yeah, we can make all the fun, and when they come back and say, "Well, that's not what the law say," I don't care.
Did you even
But
look?
it's possible that we looked into communications in this investigation. Initial stages, we looked into communications
Feel
with
like
Most
her
do.
nostrils
everybody
are
that the defendant had been
flaring
communicating with.
meanly at me.
But you don't recall, or you didn't look for a pattern of communication between CL and the defendant. Is that correct? You were focused on February.
Hey, Farrell.
I guess that depends on what stages of the investigation you're talking about.
I'm talking about any of them. Did you ever look and see if CL and the defendant texted each other about anything on a regular basis?
Yes.
Okay. And how far back did those go?
I'm not sure on exact dates.
You should
again,
trademark that one,
but
Mo.
into 2021.
So for a period of time, because CL is working for the defendant, there's communication, correct?
Correct.
And nowhere in the communication between CL and defendant, text messages asking for drugs.
We are a
correct?
kind group. We are welcoming.
We
So
didn't find any.
we are just here to spread the
There
word
were
of
also
Mo and Laytube.
time frames in the phones when
Okay.
we looked at them.
Now, I want to also talk about, you said you didn't make any promises.
Yes.
Correct. No specific promises.
Yeah.
You did, however, tell her. Let me back up. When was the first interview you had with CL?
I believe it was April 28th or 26th.
What are the good Mo news?
Oh, so the joke is that people, my followers, all of them who I love, have decided that like the I don't know how we got on this tangent or where, but people should go tell people about, have you heard about Mo in the Deep? Like, have you heard the good news, like the Jehovah's Witnesses? And I said that I would be tickled pink if anyone actually did that, but I think you'd end up with, cease and desist and possibly restraining orders. Now the current question is, are we what is it? Oh gosh, what did I say last night? What was last night? Are we Molets or are we, Moments? Like, what is going to be our church of, what is our nickname? I'm
Yeah,
letting
I can't
chat
get
decide.
why Jeff, who do maritime law, doesn't have a seaman level in his members.
Because he realizes that the internet is degenerate. And we can't even say that word without laughing. And my father was in the Navy, and I still giggle every time I hear it.
I love that we're children. I like being a child.
Oh, it was the motivators. I remember. I know I said something last night, but Salvador.
The church and public schools.
I like that one the best. It wins. I say it. I'm adopting it.
All I
I'm
need
just
is
happy
that
that
said,
I did my
excited
military.
utterance, you win.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
Sal wins.
not that one. It jumped on me.
And we have a winner.
Sal's the winner. That's what I say.
Look, we're a non-denominational church. You can call yourselves whatever you like, but I will be going with mofos from now on.
It's fitting. But again, we love you all. You are just as degenerate as us.
Yeah.
And sometimes the worst part on being on camera is that you want to say something you shouldn't say if you like at some point of time have YouTube go back and watch if you could possibly be monetized or anything. Because
Yes.
it's easier to write it in David's or Nicholas's chat than do it online.
Yeah, you should get some flyers out, put them on people's cars while you're at the Walmart one day.
Just at the hour of the day where it's only middle-aged women shopping, because if you write true crime Church of Mo, you would
all I
Girl,
need is
you'd
to
blow up
explain.
like crazy.
All I need is to explain to the
mini-tarts are
federal
better than
agent that
retards.
comes to my house. So what exactly are you starting a cult? Look, it was a meme. I don't know if y'all know what those are.
See swept, you see her.
You guys see look. I had Salvador.
Yeah, it's and the funny part is all of us smaller tubers. It's nice of David and Nicholas to give us a spot, but it's also nice that we can support each other. and
Yes.
and do our own thing, so we can have all the fun because the lawyers have to pretend to be lawyering at sometimes, and we can
And
just be
y'all,
stupid.
we are not a church. I am a for-profit charity.
For profit share.
We don't have those tax exemptions in Denmark.
Well, I
I
figured I
once
was
for
going to be honest.
Yeah, I think everyone's down for a cult or two. I mean,
only the fun cults, not the what's that Kool-Aid
Yeah, but
cults.
everyone's level of fun seems to diminish when you move everyone to Guyana.
Hey Dave,
hi Dave.
or the waiting for Haley's comment so you can jump on the spaceship in the back.
I remember, like, you should go join one just for the heck of it. You're like,
Yeah,
They won't
you're
let
like,
the
what are you
heck.
guys doing here? What's up? And then this is lame. I gotta go. You guys are lame.
Listen, for all the bad things that David Koresh did, he at least looked like Jesus. I need Chad Daybell to grow his hair out. If you are going to pretend to be a messianic figure, I need you to either dress up like Napoleon or like Jesus. Sir, you have done nothing. You are Humpty Dumpty.
Why not?
you
That sounds
whatever you like, but again, I think that cults it's get tiresome. A sex cult could be more fun. Just
all right.
no,
As long as you're not
doesn't
on
matter.
laundry duty.
I don't have enough subscribers to ever get monetized, so I can say sex cult. And excited. I bet if all of us showed up to some kind of cult meeting, we would be thrown out, even if it was a sex cult. We were too degenerate to participate in that.
Baker, this is my whole plan to get into heaven. We are all going to get stuck in purgatory, and we're all going to make such a ruckus and what is it? What did the mom say? A prowl. We are going to be just a prowl of insanity that God's going to be like, look, come on. Purgatory is a quiet place, y'all. You are disturbing people that are trying to get to heaven. Come on now, inside. We've got a
Yeah.
special little spot just for y'all.
You can
see
sit
how
in that
Mojo
corner, watch
slides over
pictures.
that? Like slides past that real easily. As long as you're not on laundry duty that day
I'm just saying, like,
for the sex
someone
call.
has to be lowest on the totem pole both places. So, like, you hear the spectator /
Crap.
Gatorade getter
Right.
and laundry doer.
Right, Farrell. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be on part 8, sub 1.
it'll give Baker something to do.
Yeah. I've thought that this would take an hour and a half. It's a little over an hour, the interview, but
Yeah, when you're by yourself, not when you invite me and Mo on.
no.
know.
And the good part is you bring the eye candy. I'm just listening along. So and she should really get something to fix her skin kids. Those doesn't
Well,
look like
she's
freckles.
probably stressed.
Why?
Aw, poor her.
Well, I mean, she didn't plan through her plan of action. She didn't, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say about this. Ma'am, there are an entire channels full of Lifetime movies, and you just chose to half-ass it. So I'm sorry for you.
Yeah. Again, we should expect better criminals.
I would hope so.
It's just substandard. At
We
least
have the internet, people.
we have OJ, a guy who obviously didn't do it, and he even wrote a book about it afterwards. She wrote the book before getting on the stand. Think about the PR you get after you're convicted. I bet Amazon puts it on right after she's convicted, if she's convicted.
Amazon still has certain plucky young Austrian painters' general theories on sale. So not sure that they're gonna.
Yeah, the good part of having this community in the chat is it's a pretty solid community. The worst part is if you come in here just to have a look, you could probably think some, if not all of us, are a bit crazy.
Well, I mean, who doesn't love a little crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. But speaking of crazy,
I believe it was the 26th.
Did you have any contact with her prior to that?
No.
Did anybody from law enforcement have contact with her prior to that?
it's a nice community to be part
Not
of.
from our office.
Yeah.
You don't know if anyone else talked to her?
I don't.
Okay. Now, part of this came out of a raid or something along the lines that was coordinated with at least ATF and some other agencies, correct?
CL's home was subject to a search warrant based on information that we had gathered during our investigation into CL.
And that search warrant would essentially
Probably.
contradict that she was doing well and what she was supposed
If
to be
I
doing in
did it.
drug court, correct? She was buying drugs, wasn't she?
We didn't know that. We knew that she was associating with people that we knew had active warrants for drug charges.
Okay. And that would be a violation of drug court conditions, correct?
From my understanding, yes, but I don't know the details of that.
Okay. And as part of that search warrant, were individuals arrested?
CL was arrested, yes.
There were other individuals who were arrested too, correct?
I'm not recalling other individuals that were arrested on the date that the warrant was served.
Okay. Were any drugs recovered at the home?
Yes.
Is Chandler Henderson going back on trial?
No, it's an old trial.
Oh, you're just doing a rewatch. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's because I didn't hear anything about it, but like everybody else, I bet she knows what the other white meat tastes like, and not in the Luna way.
No one was eating anyone.
Here's
guys
the-
with this
hell,
one.
Sal,
the man
your
down the
honest
street said
opinion.
it sounded like brisket smoking. Okay, I'm tell you, I smell some brisket. There's
I
you
just
cannot-
don't like the part where both the defense and the prosecution said she had nothing to do with it, nothing at all. She was at the house shortly after he absolutely didn't burn and taste his parents.
Okay, my
And
thing
again-
is again, you burn some bacon in my house, you're gonna smell it for like a day. He had
Yeah.
rack a dad going in the freaking fireplace and leg a mom, and she's like, I just bought over some Febreze. I just prayed a little bit of Febreze.
And
We did the
as I-
Swiffer.
As I wrote yesterday, when my dad talked about finding crispy people when he was a fireman, he said it smelled kind of like pork. You knew what you were finding if you came into a burned apartment and it smelled like pork. It wasn't a pork roast. It was the other white meat.
He had to call
Stop.
your mom. He's like, look, I really don't want lamb chops or pork chops tonight. If we can,
Could we just get a salad?
can we have burgers instead?
Yeah, and it wasn't just a little bit of peroxide. She brought a lot, but she had nothing to do with it, Salvador. Don't make any claims because both
Why
the
is it the
prosecution
most
and defense said.
Disturbing things is that they Snapchat or FaceTimed in the shower. I'm like, the hell do you need to do that for? She had to know he didn't have like dropsy and half a stroke and all the other things if she's showering with him. There's a
I can
lot to-
still recall the moment when I was watching the Ricada and they were talking about the two lesbians on the quad bike going to the pool, and the mom was scared because girlfriend liked those titties out, and
You know,
she-
Gary
she
Busey
was-
with a fine set is someone's fantasy.
and she looked like Jerry Busey, and I'm just thinking, those puppies, they have long ears.
Oh my god.
Well, and then Chandler is just like, I'll just go ahead and get in anyways. Like the, the whole
Yeah.
family, the whole thing is just all sorts of ridiculous. And I need to see proof that both of these women could get on that small little John Deere because facts not in evidence, y'all. Facts not in evidence. Photo or if it never happened.
And no one in that family called the dad to make anything at home. They called stepmom because she could tell you how to hold a hammer. I'm pretty sure of that. But mysteriously, they didn't find the gun standing right in the middle of the barn for 2 months or whatever, however long it was. But Kat was pretty hot. I have to say it. I would Snapchat her too in the shower. She would be
Okay,
disappointed of my pictures, but I think I would like what she sent me.
Okay, but she lost me when they were supposedly going to Florida and he was going to be making I didn't need to put air quotes there. Florida is a real place. But and he was
I
going to be
was
making
wondering,
in
I was
theory
like, Florida?
$80,000 a year. That was where I was supposed to put those.
Yeah.
And she was sending him like gizmodos or not gizmodos. You know the like realty. She's like, it's a $700K house. I was like, girl, did you math?
Right. Like, yeah, well, that's doable. Cool.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't understand women, and I have 2 daughters, so I really don't understand women. I just know I'm an embarrassment, and it's cringe that I'm speaking English on the internet, and their friends could find me. But if a guy invites you over, and you're what was he, like 20, and he said,
Yeah.
"Well, should we not sleep in my blanket fort in the living room while the whole house smelled like you had in Denmark we have some pork roast, we call it flæskesteg. We eat it at Christmas and we like it very crispy in the skin, and when you go into someone's house at Christmas, you know, they had made a really nice flæskesteg, and I bet that house smelled a lot like Christmas at my house because if you burn
Now you're
somebody,
never gonna have a Christmas without thinking of Chandler Alderson.
well, I'm just wondering again, what does the other white meat taste like?
Oh my God.
Well, wasn't there a dude fairly close to there that he really wanted to be unalived and eaten? So it was a
It's
consensual
in
unaliving and eating,
in
but the
Germany,
guy
yeah.
still
In Germany, there was some gay guy who found a guy online and said, "Well, how about I show up at your place and you eat me?" And he did. That's a famous case from Germany. I think
Oh,
from
great.
Berlin, if I remember right. But
Yeah.
he got convicted because you can't unalive somebody even if they ask you to do it. So, but he wanted to be killed and
Well,
eaten.
they also filmed it too. And I believe Unalive E had a bite or so before completely unaliving. That's what in the
Again,
Hannibal Lecter.
Now I fully understand why your children are embarrassed.
I'm hoping they're not. My sister asked me to cover this case, and my sister is probably making new arrangement for having her son babysat in August. I'm not sure she's inviting me now because with
She's
the
like,
company
"There
I
better
keep,
Like, please, Dad, stop talking about eating people on your YouTube channel.
I'm not talking about eating people. I'm just saying in Germany there was a case where a guy wanted to be eaten, and not in the good way. And another guy said,
Is
"It's
there a good
okay,
way?
I'll do it."
I mean, for a lady, but
Well, I mean, I'm sure
Some guys I
I will
have heard
text
about.
Mr.
Never
Mel. We
mind.
will get we will get answer.
I'm
Salvador,
not gonna
that's a slow
mention
pitch. Don't
Jack
do
Murphy
it.
about eating anything. Not we'll not bring in Jack
I
Murphy
was so
into
mad
this.
at him. He had such a full, thick beard.
Looking at my white stripe, yeah, I could be the next one. So I
No,
just have
sir,
to
you
get on
can't.
Chatterbait and 69 for 69, guys.
You need a
This is
girlfriend that
going
you can spend.
so off track.
I am sorry. Okay,
sorry.
so
Zip it.
Ladies,
we We are going back on a track. We are going to look at angry flaring nostrils, asking
You
questions.
wrote a check to a drug dealer. Her husband died. I mean,
Yeah. It's
check, wrong thing to do. All of them.
Can
Check all the
David
boxes.
just get enough subscribers so he can monitor chat all the time? It's going wrong every time we are left unsupervised.
Okay,
We go
listen,
down
y'all,
some
get me
strange
to
holes.
enough enough subs
Yeah,
that
that's
I
it.
get.
Shouldn't say strange holes.
Got more viewers.
Yeah.
Rolling in like 20, I think, or something.
It's right now I think I have 22.
Listen, guys, you like this kind of chat, don't you?
Yeah, it's not us who are degenerates. We're not watching people talking about this stuff.
We're giving up watching cases. We're all just going to start watching My 600-Pound Life and doing jokes.
Yes.
Oh, we don't have that. I probably can find it on some streaming service, but we don't have it on TV in Denmark. So yeah.
We shouldn't have it on TV here, but
No, I just my sister's probably worried the company I keep that I could teach him something a good boy is not supposed to know.
Did you see that my one son, Gunner, my middle son, who is Bobby Hill, got in trouble because he was listening to my live stream one night? And I was like, no, this is not. So in the background, you hear Mr. Mo after my youngest Griffin comes narcs on him and he's like, Gunner's watching your stream. And then he runs away. And then I'm texting Mr. Mo. I'm like, this is not even halfway kid appropriate. Get him the hell off of
My nephew found out I was a YouTuber, so he wanted to watch it. And my nephew is born in Switzerland, and he speaks 3 languages: Danish, French, and English, because he went to a dual language daycare. And now he's in school, and it's French, so he could probably understand a lot of this. So I hope my sister is not allowing him to watch it. So,
my son still claims that I am not a YouTuber because I haven't met Mr. Beast and I haven't made elephant toothpaste. Therefore, I am not actually a real YouTuber, and he doesn't understand what I'm actually doing.
None of us understands what we're doing. We're just talking to people across the world, and somehow we always end up talking about nothing about the things we are supposed to talk about: crack houses, white meat, burning people. I'm going to press play again, and then we'll maybe go for a second, and then we'll find something stupid to talk about again.
And
I'll need a drink.
you also recovered a firearm.
made
Baker's
Baker
bedroom,
drink.
correct?
I'm sorry.
Correct.
And that would be a violation of her drug court conditions, correct?
Correct.
Sure is.
Now, in this first interview in April, you begin
Oh my God,
the
it is our
interview-
party line.
Should invite everybody on now. Come on, join us.
I swear to God, I told my kids, because I'm CC'd on their texts for safety. I was like, y'all are
explaining
getting
to
freaking party line.
Essentially, how dire of a
I thought,
situation she's
in honor of Amber Heard, I'll have a little maker's mark.
There you go.
I don't have the interview memorized, but I know we talked about that, yes.
Those who
Okay,
know,
well, you
knows.
told her that she was on probation to drug court for 4 first-degree felonies, correct?
Correct.
Okay, a violation of that is a potential prison sentence, correct?
It would depend on the prosecutor, but that's potentially true.
Okay, a first-degree felony carries a possible penalty of life in prison, correct?
Violation of her parole or probation.
I don't know. I would have to reference the code.
So you told her she was facing problems with that, correct? That this would be a violation. So she'd be on the hook for 4 first-degree felonies.
Potentially, yes.
Okay. And you also told her that having the firearm could potentially be a new crime, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then you also told her that the U.S. Attorney's Office was essentially on board with screening drug distribution charges, correct? I'm happy to play it if you don't remember.
I don't remember specifically.
Oh,
Do you remember talking to her about potential federal charges?
Yes.
Okay. So she was aware that not only was she facing
I was gonna say, Farrell has a question.
Yeah, which lady? The Utah mom is charged with giving her husband 5 times the deadly amount of fentanyl, and CL, her house cleaner slash drug dealer friend, provider.
She was a
Um,
recovering addict who just cleaned her house and was her friend.
yeah, and she could. Yeah, this is the grief book lady. Yeah, Are You With Me? I believe the word of the name of the book is. You can't find it any longer on Amazon. It disappeared right after she was indicted in this case.
Yep.
But we have now been trying for more than 2 hours to get through this 1 hour interview, and we'll keep going. But again, 4 felonies, possibly a firearm felony. So she's looking at spending a lot of time on the taxpayer's dime. Is she gonna sing? Is she not gonna sing? I know what I would do.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, but my sister asked me to look into this case, so I did. I haven't really studied it, so I like to see where we are going, but it seems like we're going into a roundabout and we don't really get out of it.
so
multiple
the FTA is in charge of going
first-degree
over all of
felony
the drug.
prison sentences. She was
Distribution?
also potentially facing federal charges, correct?
Okay, that makes sense.
And during that initial interview, she tells you that she didn't buy fentanyl, correct?
Farrell, we got into a small, a tiny slip up. We ended up talking about eating people, doing making a sex cult. If my followers should be mini-tards or retards, or if Mo should be mofos or
Molest.
whatever.
I like
And
that.
we did a segment on international politics too, if you're interested in that. This is pre-law; it's not law, so we go wherever the wind blows us.
And I just want to applaud her for coming in and not even realizing what's going on, just to hang out.
Haven't we all?
I don't know if she made that specific statement, but she talked about not knowing anything about fentanyl.
And after you
That
offered
interview
her a
lasted
deal,
about
she
an hour and
remembered it.
19 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, correct?
Correct.
And that interview ends, well, with you telling her, sometimes you tell her to think through all of this and let you know if she wants to help.
Yes, I gave her the opportunity to tell us up front whether she was willing to cooperate or if we should just not bother interviewing her anymore.
Okay. But this is after you essentially tell her that she has the potential of doing a considerable amount of state and federal prison time, potentially.
Yes, this is a common tactic in law enforcement to be able to leverage charges for information.
Yeah, it does.
In fact, you did in this case leverage charges for information because you told her that you didn't care about first-degree felonies or federal charges. What you cared about was information about
I told her that I was interested in the information that she may know about this
You know what he
case.
wanted.
Okay.
We know what.
But you told her also that Eric died of a fentanyl overdose, correct?
Correct.
And you told her that you thought that Kouri gave him the drugs, correct?
I did not specifically say that.
You alluded to the fact that you needed information.
Farrell, if you were not out stalking every night, then maybe you could be showing up to the morning streams. You're always late, and you always have the pictures. Just saying.
So, Farrell, we
Question
need to
about
find
Kouri getting
those
fentanyl because that's how Eric died.
punishment
correct?
papers.
Oh, sorry, I started again. You said something, Mo?
Oh, I was saying, Farrell, we need to find those punishment papers in one of the I don't know if it's Young Thug or Young Melly or Smelly. I don't know,
Smelly.
but the judge makes them makes people that piss him off write a bunch of
It's Young Thug. It's the one
papers.
that-
Well, me being on top of my rap game, I totally know the difference.
Yeah, I know.
I watched 8 Mile once.
Yeah, I have seen Straight Outta Compton too. So I'm almost, and I watched the New Hampshire case, so I can speak street. Bro,
Look at you.
yo, dog. But is that the case where it blew up yesterday because the witness said she was scared of the state, or is that the other rapper case?
I know you guys are going to be shocked, but between Delphi and attempting to learn how to use this new Dragon, basically is a program where I talk into my mic and it will take notes down. And so between learning how to do that and also keeping children alive and being a sort of good wife and an okay mom, I haven't been keeping up on all the rap charges.
Young Thug is the one he makes them write the essays. Yeah,
Oh,
Melly's the
okay.
one that's been spicy, I guess, lately. I haven't seen any.
That's the one with YWN something. They're all called that because they are a rap group or something. And I was just, oh my God, get over it. And mass, yeah, delivering charges for information is fine. I don't know if it's fine because, again, I would sing like a canary if someone said, you'll do 5 years instead of 50. And again, levying charges for testimony, and it seems like she was sent home with a specific idea put into her head that maybe it was a good idea if she remembered something. If you watch the Adam Montgomery trial, it was amazing how much the witnesses knew exactly about the things the prosecution asked about, and when the defense asked, they couldn't remember anything. So it's like going to the blackboard and I must not do. So
And then they
I like
said
judges.
Gonna run it through one of those
Plagiarizing
things. I was like, "Are you serious?" Because I would have plagiarized this shit.
And like 10 main sources, 10 sub-sources. I was like, someone's intern is going to be really pissed off right now.
I'd be mad at the judge. I'd be like, "Cut this shit out."
But again, it's better than the Del Brooks judge who just kept going because I don't want to have an appellant issue. Well, sometimes you have to give somebody a smack on. No, you can't smack people in Denmark. It's against the law. In Minecraft, you should sometimes have to slap somebody across the face to make them see sense. But I would never do that in real life. I love the law.
Okay.
I don't know if I made that specific, but the information that we tried to convey to CL was that we wanted to know the information that she may have regarding Eric's death.
Okay. And
do we know if Eric had
you
any
didn't
pain
care
issues?
about any additional charges? All you cared about was that information, correct?
Pain?
Well, so like, I'm trying to think of it on both. Well, I mean, he was married.
We know
so,
he had. He took THC gummies and nothing else. And she said that the fentanyl was for a co-worker or associate who had back problems.
Okay, so that makes me wonder if he was using the THC gummies for pain.
I think he
Could
was
they be
doing it regularly, like just.
Oh, okay. Well, because totally allegedly in Minecraft, those gummies might be the only thing that help with my pain if they were to happen to appear at my house which, you know, would never happen.
Well, I mean, if
We
they
love the
were
law.
for his pain, then why couldn't she just say, "I need this for my husband" to her friend or whatever? But
Well, I'm trying to
he
look
made
at
up a
it
story. Yeah.
from the defense side. Like, say he's, you know, taking these gummies for pain. He doesn't tell his wife. I mean, now the whole thing is convoluted. You're not going to get away from cleaning lady apparently giving her a bag of pills, but you could say, look, it was for his pain. I'm sorry. He was self-medicating. I didn't know what else to do. Then you take it down from first degree premeditated to a manslaughter or something like that. I
Yeah,
think.
but I think the problem is there's no prior medical records. But
Well, no, there's a lot of problems with my theory, mostly because it doesn't work with the facts.
yeah, but facts. What are facts? I'm more into feelings.
Well,
It's important. It's 2023, everybody. What do you feel? And Josie, I haven't really looked into this before this today because I wanted to go in with fresh eyes, and I can't say I want to go in raw because Mo starts giggling and say you can't say that. And but I
went
think
raw
that
dog.
he had 5 times the deadly amount of fentanyl in his body, probably played into them thinking this could be a problem, and especially because her associate procured the, is that the right word? Procured? I don't know. She got
acquired.
her the drugs. I tried to sound smart, and it went downhill very fast.
It happens to the best of us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm dyslexic in every
As I
language.
said previously, we expressed to her that the information that she may have was more valuable to us than seeking charges against her.
All right. And then you interview her 2 more times, is that right?
No, there were, I believe, 3 more after our first one.
Okay, were all of those audio and video recorded?
Yes.
And those were turned over to the state in this case, correct? The state being the prosecutor's office? Okay. Now, forgive me because with all these interviews, I'm not sure which one comes from which. You, in subsequent interviews, tell CL that she needs to give good enough details that will ensure that Kouri gets convicted of murder, correct?
I don't know if I made that specific statement, but I did express to her that the information that she gave us needed to be specific enough that we could corroborate it and that it could be presented to a courtroom.
Yeah.
Okay. And that she was, quote, screwed at this years if there's not cooperation, correct?
No, I never made such statement.
Okay. Did you ever tell her this was her get out of jail free card?
No, I did not.
Bullshit.
Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that? Exactly.
Yes.
Hell, I'm not even sure if I didn't say it with her nostrils just a flaring out at me.
Now, at some point, CL tells you that in one of the interviews that
Yeah, there should be recordings of the interviews. I haven't found them online because I looked because sometimes it's interesting, like in the Sarah Boone case, to see how people react when they're interrogated. Oh my God, we have to finish this before my brain melts. But I haven't found any recordings. I've found a transcript of an interview with a police officer, which is not really saying anything. But the interviews with this CL defendant is not, and I don't know if it's because it's an ongoing case, so you can't release it because then somebody could change their tune if if they found out what she's going to say. But again, the defense should have them. So I don't know. We need. Yeah. Again, this is it's just for the bail hearing. But if she have something when they're going on trial, that could be a problem. I bet the state is going home and rewatching all those interviews to see if she could find anything in there.
Kouri contacted
this
her
woman.
between December and February to obtain prescription pills for an investor, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And she doesn't specifically state fentanyl at that point, correct?
Are you referring to CL?
I'm referring to CL.
I don't remember, but I don't believe so.
Okay. And in fact, and I'm guessing it's something where on the second or third interview,
I'm drinking. It's the only thing
CL
keeping me together right now.
says that those first pills, well, never says those first pills are fentanyl, correct? It never says that Kouri asked for fentanyl, correct?
I'm sorry, could you rephrase the question?
Sorry. In those first, in the first transaction, so initially CL tells you that there were 3 transactions prior to Eric's death, correct?
Yes, and what I have to say here is that
Well,
none
that was a yes or no question.
but none of the information that we got from CL was perfectly chronological. We had to piece it together over multiple interviews to come to the conclusion that we came to.
Because you told her you needed more.
Have to couple it together over multiple interviews. That's a problem in my world. I don't know how you feel about it, but it seems like, are you sure you didn't hear this? And the next interview, yeah, I heard that. Are you sure you wasn't here at that time? Oh, I was there at that time. It kind of makes it sound a bit fishy, in my opinion, that they have to couple it together. It's not chronologically in line.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would be interested to watch all of the tapes. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't because it would be boring, but and I would start wandering off in my own little world. But if you can see how her story changed through the interviews, and it's looking more and more like they just wanted to get this woman. And I don't know, angry eyebrows just looks like she's watched all that footage and that's why she's angry.
Yeah, and she looks like someone, if she find anything on tape 2 and tape 4 that doesn't line up, she's gonna give you the woman look after you gave her
She's given them the warning, like, are you sure about that?
Yeah,
When the lawyer asks if you're sure about that, you are not sure. You have never been sure.
No, she's just when you're coming in at night and say, "Hey, honey," and she looks at you and said, "Did you forget something?" You better say yes with that look on her face. You forgot every birthday and every anniversary ever in your family, in your relationship. This is the face of a woman who doesn't take no for an answer.
Now I kind of want to see her without her eyebrows, though.
Farrell is pretty good with the Photoshop, isn't she? Yeah, if Farrell is scared of this one, then we're just gonna leave it. Yeah, I think she has the not the resting bitch face, but the very angry bitch face.
She's a gold contender. We're sending her to nationals.
Yeah, Karen of the year.
Karen.
Or something more specific to ensure that Kouri gets convicted, right?
No, we told her that we needed more details on what she was talking about and specific dates and times.
But in the first one, she says there's 3 transactions prior to Eric's death, correct?
At some point in our interviews, she told us there were transactions.
And she says that Kouri was only looking for prescription pills or hydrocodone pills, to be specific, correct?
CL referred to them as Roxy's.
Okay, what do you know Roxy's to be?
They can be different things in the drug world. They can either be counterfeit pills that are meant to look like a prescription pill, or they can be actual prescription pills. But generally, they're known to be opiate-based drugs, whether illicit or pharmaceutical.
Okay, so something along the
I am
lines
learning
of
so many new
hydrocodone
things.
or Oxycontin or something along those lines, correct?
It could be, yes.
I'm just afraid if I ever gonna have a visa to visit you in the US and they check my search history
And she
after these
specifically says that
cases,
she was looking
I'm
for
not coming in.
$900 worth of fentanyl pills, correct?
I don't know if initially, but she did make the statement of $900 at one point in one of our interviews.
And she says that Kouri told her to leave the pills at an outdoor fire pit at the Midway house where there was cash, correct?
I don't know if she made that exact statement, but yes, she told us that at some point in part of the exchange that
She doesn't
was
fight.
instructed to
She had
leave
it.
pills in an outdoor fire pit in a house in Midway.
Leave pills in a fire pit? What the actual?
At a
And
Midway
in fact,
house.
you sat there with her in this interview and did house searches, correct? Trying to figure out which house this was.
Yes,
Okay. Because she couldn't really tell you which house it was, correct?
she couldn't give us an address, but she was confident that she could find it if she could drive there.
Okay. And did you take her for a drive there?
Yes,
Did you ever do any follow-up investigation on whether or not that house ever sold?
yes,
And you know that that house sold sometime in January of 2022, correct?
what I understand, yes,
So Ms. Richins no longer owned that home or occupied that home or had access to that home in February, correct?
I don't know.
Well, the house was owned by somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Again, I don't know.
Well, you said it closed in January of 2022.
From the information that I was told
I
from
like
other
her.
people, other investigators that had looked into that, I was told that Miss Richins owned the house at some point and that it sold at some point. I don't know dates exactly.
Be important if CL's telling you that she had access to the home and was there in February?
Possibly.
That might be a good fact to know.
I like her. She's
Yeah, she has the face of somebody you wouldn't like to spend 5 minutes with, but I like that she's straight to the point. And before a jury, this is good. Facts and him mumbling about I don't remember anything. It's again 2 seconds ago he could remember everything in details because they talked about it before he went on the stand. Now he's beginning to mumble. I know it's probably not enough to get her free, but I like the style of this attorney.
Okay. CL then does subsequent interviews, correct?
Yes, we had multiple interviews with her.
And after being told that Vic, as your words are, correct? She now says that it was specifically fentanyl that Kouri asked for, correct?
Correct.
And that she didn't actually take the pills to that house in Midway. It was a hand-to-hand transaction, correct?
Like I said, she went back and forth on her memory on which instances referred to which transactions. And ultimately, she told us that she was sure that the first transaction of fentanyl was a hand-to-hand transaction in her driveway.
Okay. And was what's been referred to as acquaintance 3, was that in regard to that transaction?
No.
Okay.
Was the second transaction.
Were you ever to corroborate, was anyone with her that could corroborate that she saw CL hand Kouri drugs?
Not that I know of.
So they're asking us to take a crackhead who keeps changing her story.
And then she states that
After
now there
being
was
asked if she didn't really mean that at this place, at this time,
third
at this hour,
transaction that occurred
because
after.
it would be bad
Eric's
if
death,
her
correct?
She didn't
trial
make the
was
statement that it was after Eric's death.
going to
but she
land her
told us there
50
were
years
3
in jail
total
or something like that.
transactions.
So the information
I
contained in the
see
state's
where you
amended
can go with
information, you
this
don't know where that came from.
as a defense.
Which information are you
That
referring to?
she purchased drugs after Eric's death.
Yes, I do know where it came from.
Okay. And you're saying CL did not sell drugs to Kouri after Eric's death?
CL could not remember specific dates and did not make mention that the transaction happened after Eric's death. But when presented with digital evidence from other witnesses, she confirmed that that was most likely correct.
Okay. So she just agreed with your scenario of events, correct?
No, in fact, several times during our interview, she told us that as we presented her more information, it helped her remember more.
Yeah,
So as
I
you're
bet it
telling her
did.
to be more specific,
right.
you're providing her with information that you're gaining in, and she's saying, now I remember. Accurate?
Well, when you put it like that,
Aaron, I haven't looked into it, but I think she's a pretty wealthy author and entrepreneur. So I'll bet this lady didn't come out of the public defender's office. Her hair and clothes alone could imply that she knows how to pay for stuff, not just throw on the first cheap suit she finds. So I bet she paid for it herself. And if you there's some strange Google searches also, something where rich people go to jail or something like that. So she had some money. So I'm sure this is not a free lawyer. It's a pay for play lawyer, and she's doing a great job. Yeah, this lawyer seems to know her stuff. They have found something in the interviews that's got to be brought up in the trial. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
All right. You also testified that you interviewed 2 of Eric's best friends, right?
Yes.
And during one of those interviews,
Spit it out. What happened?
actually, I'm going to go back to CL for just a second.
Okay.
On this transaction that you allege that this check was used for, or the state alleges this check was used for, you testified that she picked up the check, there was and cashed it, right?
Correct.
And drove to the Maverick and purchased fentanyl.
She didn't drive, but she was.
Someone drove her,
Yes.
okay?
I just have to ask. Maverick that's just the name of a service station line or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
that they said.
Like what's the name in Bucky's or something in the
Okay.
south?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the person with her corroborates that.
Correct.
And that third witness never saw CL give those drugs to Kouri, correct? Acquaintance 3 never saw that?
Acquaintance 3 didn't tell us that he ever saw that, no.
In fact, there's no independent witness to corroborate that CL gave Ms. Kouri those drugs, correct?
No eyewitnesses that we have identified, but The investigation is ongoing.
And CL is currently out of custody, right?
Depends on your definition of custody, but she's not incarcerated, no.
Not incarcerated, she's on, I think, ankle monitor and not to leave the county, right?
Correct.
But following your interviews with her, she was released from jail.
That's pretty good with
Not
4
immediately,
felony
no.
charges against you.
She worked with the prosecutor in the other county where her drug court is and came to a resolution as to those charges against her. And part of that was being released on ankle monitor.
Okay, so in exchange for the testimony, in exchange for the information that she provided to you, and a deal was worked out where she was essentially released from jail on the order to show cause, correct?
I don't know the specifics of what went on between the prosecutor and CL.
Okay.
But subsequent to our interviews, we reached out to the prosecutor's office and let them know that she was being cooperative. After that, I was not involved in any decisions regarding her release.
Okay, because that's up to the judge and whatnot. But you did communicate that to prosecutors,
Yes,
that she gave you the information you needed.
that she was being cooperative with our investigation, yes.
Right, I want to turn now to your interview, and I'm going to use initials. You had an interview with one of Eric's friends. His initials are JS. Do you recall that?
Yes,
Okay. That interview occurred about April 20th. Is that correct?
that seems right. I don't know a specific date, but
Okay. And during that interview, you discussed with him that he and another individual were essentially Eric's best friends, correct?
So Sarah, my apologies.
Yes.
April 20th of which year?
Oh, 2023.
3.
I apologize.
Thank you.
At any point during that interview, did JS mention that Eric had said that at any point during he and Kouri's marriage, he was concerned that Kouri was attempting to poison him?
I don't recall, but I don't think so.
In fact, you present him essentially 3 scenarios of what could have happened to Eric, correct? That he essentially did it to himself knowingly, that someone else did it to him, or that it was accidental, right? And you specifically ask him if he thinks Kouri would have done it, and he says, no, in my gut, I don't believe so, correct?
I don't know if that was a direct quote, but yes, he said that he didn't believe that she would have done it.
And he also states during that interview that at the time of his death, Eric and Kouri's marriage was in a really good place.
Yes.
Correct? Now, he also details or talks about a falling out that he and Eric had over the course of their friendship, correct?
Yes, that sounds familiar.
It's a different picture than when the prosecutor asked him
And
about
that
those
Eric-
friends.
And his other friend that he refers to in this interview actually had a falling out right before Eric passed away, correct?
Yes.
Again, it's only reasonable doubt you have to raise. So friends being mad at him, again, it could happen.
You also talk about, or he talks about the fact that of them at different times that had marital problems that they had helped each other through, correct?
And to any new ones, the choppy stream is not on my end. It's like that on YouTube. So I can't really do anything about it. And sometimes it skips a bit. So I hope you can follow along, even though it's a bit choppy, but it's annoying.
JS told me that he and Eric and their other friend would confide in each other about their marriages and would share information. And that was how he had the insight that he had into Eric's life.
Exactly. It's and again, before jury, you only
He
have
also
to
talks
get them
about,
to believe in your side of the story.
that
And he's
Eric
not really sure
changed,
on the facts right now.
or created these trust documents, correct?
Correct.
Så det er bare had.
And
Det er bare ked nu.
his
Nu bliver jeg mega ked.
understanding, based on what he said that Eric told him, was
What he said.
because
Hatred.
Eric
Nothing but
was
pure hatred. And this is my childhood
or
friend.
upset, about a relationship that Kouri had, correct? Or he thought she had.
And so Kouri was cheating too?
I don't remember the specifics of that
Who
part
isn't
of the
cheating?
interview, but I do remember that JS was aware that Eric had made the trust.
And he doesn't specifically say anywhere in that interview that the trust was made because he was mad about this home equity loan, correct?
JS expressed to us that he understood that the reason that Eric created the trust was to ensure his son's well-being if anything were to happen to him.
And he also expresses to you that because you asked him why it wasn't changed back, or because the sister was made the trustee, correct? And
I'm sorry, I don't understand the
the
question.
sister, so that was a terrible question. In those trust documents, the sister was made the trustee, correct?
From what I understand, yes.
And you asked JS specifically, or somewhere along the lines of, if they were doing.
I have to ask you ladies, do those pink shoes work with that outfit? Or does she look a bit like she's doing the high tipping hour at the local pole place? I think pink shoes, it's just like glass heels. It's indicating some kind of professional status as a dancer, in my opinion. But what do I know? I'm not a lady. Oh, Farrell's jumped right in. I shouldn't have said that. They work.
So I will say that more neutral or nude colors you're supposed to wear to make your legs look longer.
She doesn't need that. She has legs for days.
Well,
Well,
she's
yeah.
also wearing all black. So to
Yeah,
have
the-
to pop a color is kind of, that's my thing.
Yes, it's a severe look. I would have done a different colored camisole or whatever it is that she's wearing under that very Hugo Boss 1930s looking suit.
Well, if I should do, why if you have coral shoes on, why not a coral belt or coral top? So you
Well,
you
because
break up the.
she's in
the-
her power suit.
Yeah, but she's, in my opinion, and I have made Salvo look into it. She looks like she has enhanced sweater puppies. So if you have paid for them, let them work, and so you could put some something to draw attention to them,
Okay,
especially if you
I am-
have a.
I
Yeah.
am a terrible person, but the contrast between lady lawyer at the podium right now and lady lawyer who looks a bit like Danny DeVito to me in the background is jarring, and I just can't. That's why I'm taking notes, because if I look up, I'm gonna start giggling. So
Yeah,
I'm taking all the notes.
And that's why I believe this lawyer is paid to be there, and the other ones work for the government. That green suit does nothing for her.
That is an unfortunate green. Usually I'm all for the green, but that is a look I would have maybe run by somebody beforehand.
Also, a pantsuit is just never flattering on a woman. I don't.
Especially, she looks like she's small and wide, and it doesn't help to have extra shoulders in that. As a pretty square person myself and around front, it's not really a good look to have this boxy look because you just
Well,
look like a square.
it's the boxy look, and her hair is down, so there's really nothing. Welcome to fashion talk.
Yeah, Baker, Mo, and Jamie.
Well,
I would like to point out
I have
that
more
I
than
was staying
40%
on-
women on my channel, so I need to expand into this women universe. I'm gonna have when I reach some number of subscribers, I'm gonna be a woman so I can really understand you.
It's just gonna turn into one.
the estrogen
It's
is doing
2023.
strange
We can
things
do
to him.
anything.
You can say it right now. You found
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Twitter?
I get what you meant, Mas. That the defense lawyer wanted to look tough, but again, those shoes just makes they don't fit when the rest is black, in my opinion. But I know nothing. Farrell knows everything, or else my pictures will show up online. Of
Look,
course you did, Farrell. Why did it take you so long?
Oh,
Farrell
that's
probably got the pics from that spring break she had.
oh
We
my
are not
God.
talking about that spring break back down in Cancun, but Farrell has the pictures.
no. Did you say that was Farrell's comment? That was Sal.
That was Sal, yeah. And I said, why did it take
Everybody-
Farrell so long? And I believe that Farrell has all the pictures from that unlucky night where she tried a little funny white powder in Cancun. And
Well, hey, Baker, you have your first possible hit. It looks like if you just shave your beard, your friend will possibly go out with you on a drunken night. So,
well, it wouldn't be the
you're
first
saying
time.
there's a
And
chance.
normally he's not that
I love this
upset
guy.
if it's a female or male. It's he's my good friend. And sometimes
What-
when it's cold, who's judging?
Y'all, I would just like to point of fact, that Baker got us off. I was taking notes over here, and he's like, "What about her high heels?"
And I was listening intently. Yeah, he either brought it up.
He blames
Just
us.
blame me.
but-
I'm just trying to make this more lady friendly. Nobody else. Everybody's just talking about her nice sweater puppies and her nose job that doesn't look that well, and I wanted to talk about clothes because I'm not a sexist.
Well, there you go. All I can think is,
Well,
my husband is like, "What do you guys do all day?" And I was like, "Well, I make jokes that I would usually make to you when we're in the Lowe's parking lot to not have to go in." And he's listen, he can't take me to the hardware store. The man he still tries, but I am the Michael from because he's renovating our upstairs bedrooms for the kids so that they actually have insulation and such.
Farrell, step up your game.
And so this weekend he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to put in some hard work in the bedrooms," and I was like, "I know it." He's like, "For the love of all that is," I was like, "That's what she said." He's like, "Are you 12? Are you 12?" And I was like, "And a half."
You have 6 kids. How do you think they came? It wasn't a stalk every time.
Well, listen, the Mormon guy with the shoulder pads, we're working on a diagram for him. Because he's like, there's a born baby. Like, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, a born baby. That's my favorite.
Well, he hung out with Lupo Poopo, so he could be confused about how things work in that department. Oh my God! Oh,
So
Carry on.
why would he have not changed that back?
Yes.
And he tells you that it was his way of ensuring that even if they were doing well at the time, if there was a divorce, he would get the last word in it, right?
I remember him using that phrase, getting the last word, yes.
Well,
So it wasn't all unicorns and rainbows.
All right.
never is.
Now, you also testified today about this hunt that took place down in Mexico, right? Correct. And this hunt was February of 2022. Correct.
I don't know specific dates, but I'm aware that Eric was on a hunt in Mexico shortly before his death.
And JS tells you that he was really upset, actually leading in the days right before he passed away about what had happened with this hunt, right?
Yes.
And he was upset that they had paid an outfitter for a number of permits that they believed the outfitter had procured, correct?
Yes, from what I'm recalling, he was upset about the outfitter or the guide had not gotten enough permits for the amount of animals that they ended up taking, and it caused some concerns over legal requirements of tagging animals.
Okay. And getting the cape or anything else, correct?
Correct.
Oh my God.
And this is the same, is this outfitter the person that you investigated? Or that you interviewed?
Someone associated with that hunt and that outfit, yes. I'm not sure the exact association, but a contact for that outfitter.
Okay. So that outfitter was aware that they had made some serious problems for Eric with regard to how many animals they took in Mexico, correct?
According to JS, yes.
And in your subsequent investigation, Eric had had some heated conversations actually the night before he passed, or the night that he passed away, with that outfitter, correct?
We received information about that, yeah.
Okay. In fact, he was searching how far it was to drive from Scottsdale down there, correct?
Correct. Well, his phone showed that search.
Okay. And JS also told you that he had information or believed that this outfitter was somehow connected to the cartel, correct?
Yeah, you're right, son. I'd bring up outfits and they start talking about outfits just 2 seconds after. It's not me that's wrong. It's chat. You think I'm strange or going down a side that we shouldn't go down, side road we shouldn't go down, but everybody's talking about outfits.
I don't recall.
True.
The only question is, this cartel, is it the Petco cartel? The worst ninja cartel in the world.
That sounds familiar, but I don't recall if those were the words that he used.
But essentially,
JS made a statement about the cartel when he was talking about Eric and that hunt, yes.
Counsel, would you approach for a minute?
Yes.
And now there's a strange break for a little over half an hour. I couldn't find out if something happened or anything, but they pick it up around this time. Smash or pass, ladies.
Who is this guy?
It's
He
still
has
the
a good
detective.
beard.
Seat, please.
Oh, it is the detective.
He looks like when
Sorry,
Santa
detective.
Claus just started the beat.
Is Lazaro?
And at this time, the stream becomes even more choppy. No, son. I'm not getting more choppy. Stop the hate. Hashtag fat feelings.
It's not fat, it is fluffy. And
It's
look, young
insulation.
Santa Claus, yes, young Santa Claus over here on screen hasn't gotten, all the milk and cookies in 40 years of dealing with kids. It's just, it happens to all of us. So this is the
Yeah.
before pictures.
And just while we have this break in it, my Facebook poll, not my Facebook, my poll about if you should put your crimes on Facebook, it's pretty even. 40% said no, I'm pre-law and I know not to put it on the Facebook, and the rest, you might need a lawyer. I'm not sure. The choppiness or the beard on pre-Santa? C-Swep, you can make him stop talking somehow, maybe.
Well, if it's the detective, he's annoying me, so. But I want to see his face.
Stop the talky sounds. Just sit there, hold a puppy, and be quiet.
Stop it. Put a puppy in his arms. I'm sold.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Hold a puppy. Man never has to law again.
No.
It's like what case were it where every cop they brought on stand, every lady swooned like
Thanks for that interruption. Please proceed.
making all of us very envious. And in some cases, all the cops
A
weigh
couple more points I want
800
to ask
pounds.
some questions on. There was some discussion during your testimony elicited by the state about CPR given when the night that Eric passed away, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you've reviewed the case file. Eric had a sheet on the floor at the foot of the bed, correct?
Correct.
And that was because when
Keep
Kouri
looking
was
over.
on the phone with the 911 dispatcher, she was directed to remove him from the bed to the floor, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then the 911 dispatcher told her to attempt to conduct CPR, correct?
Correct.
Do you know if Kouri's certified in CPR?
I do not.
Okay. And for someone in your training and experience, if someone doesn't know how to do CPR, it's entirely try, it may not be effective.
Sure.
Yeah.
You also talked about what you refer to as bug out bags, correct?
Correct.
I'm not from Utah, but given the amount of time it's somewhat customary for people to prepare for things here, correct?
Wow, we've got
From
dual
my
beards. Dual
experience, yes.
beard stream, lady.
So that would include like food storage, perhaps packing a bag, correct?
Yes.
And one of those bags was Eric's, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall a label with a date on that bag?
I don't recall a date, but I do recall from photographs seeing it labeled as Eric's, yes.
And did you said that there was identification documents in there, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware that those are now expired?
No.
You came onto this case or when did you come onto this case?
In April of this year.
Only after it consented.
Took over as lead detective?
Yes.
And
He's lurking.
you, at some point after that, went to Kouri's home, correct?
Correct.
And introduced yourself and asked her, do you remember me? You coached my son, correct?
Correct.
And who was the other detective with you?
Sergeant Hoffmeyer.
Okay.
Why in the heck are we
Sergeant
closing
Hoffmeyer
in on the-
said, hey, your best friend, she coached my son, correct?
He's playing Minesweeper. Please don't zoom into his face.
His
And
eyes are
presumably,
weird.
because you are the lead detective, you knew she was represented at that time, correct?
I was not aware of that.
Okay, so you had reviewed the entire case file and did not know she.
I had not reviewed the entire case file at the time that I approached Miss Richins.
Okay.
I went to the house to introduce myself as the new detective so that she would know that what was going on with the case.
Do you have any questions with the district attorney's office prior to you talking to her?
I do not think so.
Were you aware of a letter in the file that I had sent? And specifically, your office addressed the Summit County Sheriff, Mr. Martinez, that I was counsel in the case.
I was not aware of that letter at the time.
Mm.
And you discussed with the case, correct?
It's so annoying.
After-
It gets choppy now.
Yes.
Did you ever ask her if she'd like a lawyer present?
Yes. At one point, her mother came to the house and made a point of should she be talking to us. And I said, if you would like to have your attorney here, I'm fine with that.
Okay, but this was after you'd been talking to her, right?
Well, it's not up to him to tell her that she needs a lawyer.
Well, if he's
Are you, remind me
if
of
he's
the-
questioning her, then shouldn't he give her the the rights of an accused?
I don't
Shouldn't
think
she be
I have
told?
to question, just talk to them.
Yeah, I think so if he can go in there as like, look, I'm the new, investigator on your husband's case. And then he starts talking casually. Now, I think once they get into the station is when they have to say, like, look, you are being interviewed. Now, they will lie and say, like, look, we have to give everyone Miranda rights. It's just something we do. Note to everyone on LawTube, if someone gives you your Miranda rights, you as a suspect, you are not a witness.
If they're
Would-
talking to you, you're a suspect, to be honest.
I don't know if any of you have seen that Louisa Bolit case I covered. That's one of the big questions because they sent an undercover agent in to talk to and befriend the suspect in prison. And the defense said, well, this is an interrogation, and you can't do an interrogation without telling people how that they are a suspect, and this is an interrogation. You can't just walk up to someone on the street and say, hey, didn't you sell drugs yesterday, and then use it in court. You have to say, well, we believe you sold some drugs yesterday. You have the right to remain silent and the right not to blah, blah, blah. And funnily enough, yesterday they were doing supposed to do the closing, and because the defense appealed playing those audio recordings in court, the higher court said, well, they should have made a decision if they were to be used as evidence or if it was an illegal interrogation, so they couldn't be played in court. And if they don't use those, they have really no facts pointing that he was the murderer. So it's pretty important if somebody know they are being interrogated. But again, it's different from everywhere.
Y'all, I just found her hat. My stupid t-shirt company is having the sale because of course they're having a sale. And there is a hat that said all men are cremated equal. And I also maybe posted a Tumblr on David's Discord that I'm going to have to get. Now they're all tax deductible. They're props for my Mr. Mo's.
Don't you have to be monetized before you can make it a business?
No, attempting to make it a business is considered a business.
Okay.
For a while.
Yeah. Yeah, because it could be nice to write off some of this stuff, but when there's no income in the business, it's
yeah.
there's no business at all.
Technically, it's taking up space in my house. I don't know. He's figuring it all out. I don't do numbers, and I am the personality.
You should be a lawyer. You can't math.
Yeah, but I also can't deal with stupid people and quiet my face down. So really, YouTube is all that's left.
Yeah, that's if we can't do anything else, we can just laugh at people online or talk about clothes. This is now a pre-law, pre-clothes designing channel. So, you have 3 years to make it profitable. Okay. Yeah, but I'm not sure that, I don't know, we could probably do it here in Denmark too, but I'm fine. It'll be taxed anyway, so it's 50%. So I'm doing this for fun, and I love the government and would always pay my taxes.
name again?
Carry on.
Sergeant Hoffmeyer.
Hoffmeyer.
Techno's name.
Are you aware of a conversation between Sergeant Hoffmeyer and Kouri where she asks why Detective Woody was removed from the case and he tells her for mishandling?
No, I don't recall that.
Okay. Did he ever make mention of that?
On that date at that time, no, I don't believe so.
Was Detective Woody removed from the case?
She wasn't removed from the case. She could no longer fulfill those duties.
Okay, what is she doing now?
She's in patrol.
Traffic,
No, patrol.
patrol,
Yes.
as in like a line
Responding
patrol?
to emergency calls, yeah.
Okay. but
She's
she
also
was-
part of the K-9 unit.
So she went from being the lead detective in a murder investigation, potentially, to patrol, correct?
That's not
Happened in our office.
suspicious.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Bloodworth, anything further?
Yes,
Bluffwood.
Your Honor, thank you.
That's some
Within the
name.
Scope of cross, please.
Did he see Once Upon a Time in America and thought, that's a good look?
Detective, on
Mobsters.
cross-examination, Ms. Lazaro asked you about Ms. Richins' narrative from that night that she gave her husband a drink. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And she asked you about whether or not the police recovered a glass, a cup, a mug, some kind of container for that drink that evening. Remember that?
Yes.
Were there any glasses or containers near the defendant that evening?
On the evening of the death, is that what you're referring to?
Correct. I guess it's the morning of the 4th when police arrived.
Right. I'm unsure without being there on scene. But from reviewing the body,
Am I right that the only information that indeed Ms. Richins, Kouri Richins, the defendant, gave her husband Eric Richins a drink was the defendant's own words, right?
yes.
Ms. Lazaro had asked you about gaps in timeframes in cell phones. Based on the carrier records, what have you been able to determine about gaps, particularly from early January until shortly after the defendant's?
We were able to determine from looking at the phone that it appeared that data from several different apps on the phone was missing in that time frame between January and just shortly after Eric Richins' death.
Let me turn now back to CL. Very first time you met with CL, you testified that you
A
kind of
lot.
laid out kind of the predicament she was in, facing serious charges, but having potentially valuable information regarding a very serious death investigation, right?
Correct.
After that first meeting, how long until you began questioning
He
her
doesn't need
about
hair gel. He just uses a wet pork chop.
the-
Slap
the
that.
drug purchases?
4 or 5 days.
So you laid everything out for her on the first meeting and then gave her 4 or 5 days to consider whether she should operate, and then interviewed her substantively?
Correct.
So stupid.
Let me talk about that How long after Eric Richins' death are you now interviewing CL?
Over a year.
Nope. Nope.
And
Guy in the back. Don't do
in
that.
order to
Oh, that's some
If anything,
archaeology
show.
up in there.
We
He's
showed
looking for
her,
the lost treasure
the
of
contents
Atlantis.
of her
What
phone
the
that we
hell?
seized from
in order to this. How long after Eric Richins' death are you now interviewing CL?
over a year.
I waited for gold.
In order to what, if anything, did you show her?
We showed her the contents of her phone that we seized from her home. We showed her applications, Google Maps,
Wash his
Google
hands.
Earth.
sanitize or anything. Ew.
We showed her other witnesses.
Well, he used some paper, so
phones
he
or
didn't get snot
screenshots
all
of
over
those
it.
phones.
You don't know that.
And the other witnesses' phones or screenshots of those, you showed her screenshots of communications between her and that other
Especially when you
witness.
do it like this,
With the
you
idea
can't
that
get snot on the finger
Questions
like
might
this.
jog her memory.
Correct.
Is that kind of iterative approach of showing an interviewee information, is that common when you're interviewing somebody a year after the event, which you're asking them to recall?
Yes, as from my experience, people have a difficulty recalling information, especially
when they're
specific dates
crackheads.
from that long ago.
Sure.
Let me turn now to the April 13th, 2023 date when you introduced yourself to Ms. Richins, the defendant. What's the first thing the defendant did when you introduced yourself?
Oh.
And about how long did she talk?
3 hours.
Did she give any very excited to talk to you and surprised you taking so long to come talk to her?
Yeah, she made multiple statements that she was glad the investigators were there to talk to her because she felt that she hadn't been in contact with the sheriff's office very frequently before that day.
And did there come one or even several times towards the end of the interview when you said your goodbyes, tried to leave, and she continued to talk?
Yes.
A woman who likes to talk.
The interview after you and Sergeant Hoffmeyer
That's a
left.
first.
Not to the cops,
she
people. Come on
Email
now.
Sergeant Hoffmeyer with some follow-up.
Yes, she sent an email with
And
follow-up
email.
information. And Sergeant.
This woman's a maniac.
I'm going to mark, if agreeable, as State's Exhibit 1, a transcript of that April 13, 2020.
Quit saying it
Let's
like
review.
that. I can't
Ms.
stand it.
Lazara, have you seen it?
20.
Oh, if it's not a New England accent, you don't want to listen to it.
No.
20. I can do accents.
He's saying
Hey,
it with
if we can't imagine that it's Mark Wahlberg, then we don't want to be around it.
In his Calvin Klein's.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Just
correct?
anything
Oh.
that isn't the Transformer movies.
Okay.
I missed that one, Salvador. I'm sorry.
For purposes of this,
Oh no, that's okay. I might be ordering more t-shirts and tumblers that Mr. Mo will never find until they arrive.
I looked at that. It's so irritating that we have to pay so much to bring it to Denmark because there are
Yeah,
some
we're not going to put it in the
very
document
very
at all,
funny
but it can be
T-shirts
admitted
on that
for
scene.
States 1 for the purposes.
Oh,
of
I know.
today's,
They're good quality, and now they stopped their ambassador program because
Yeah, get in the car.
It's Ka.
Ah,
yeah, it's
sorry.
That's a
Yeah,
pin
it's
drop.
Ka.
I
I'm
don't
going
know
to
what
Mrs.
you're
Zara
talking-
ask you some questions about interviewing somebody with the initials JS. And
And he has a lisp.
it's approximately April the 20th, 2020.
Not that that indicates anything.
And at that point, how long have you been active on the investigation?
Less than 2 weeks.
And you told, I think you testified, you told JS something
but
like, you thought there were
if he
three
was going to design clothes, would
One
he have
was-
that bad a haircut?
an accidental death.
He seems like a guy when he messes a boy's inseam, he
homicide. Is
goes,
that right?
make sure it's
At
from
that point
all the
in
way up
your
and to the floor.
investigation, were you looking into and investigating all three of those
Well, as
alternatives?
an informer
Yes, at that time,
tailor or
I had
informal
little
tailor,
information about the case.
you have to touch
Pre-tailor.
everyone.
The couple of interviews that I had conducted.
Yes.
And I was trying to keep an open mind to all the possibilities.
Thank you. No further
Mr.
questions.
Mo is going to be like, what the hell did this, what is coming in? And I'm gonna be like, I have no idea what happened. Some fan of mine must have bought something.
Look
You
at
have
what
to do
all
the
my
Nicholas thing.
subscribers are sending me.
We're good, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Anything further, Ms. Lazara?
I use my own fun money. I can get whatever I want.
You can step down, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just have to note down the time so I can pick it up. I'll probably think we're going to do it again tomorrow if I'm not ending up in the bottom of a bottle because you guys. You should,
I am a lovely person.
No, it's not you guys. The the chat.
It's all y'all's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to play around with this. I don't know what I like. Right now, it's this. We can make. Yeah, I can move the start of the show. So it was a short interview and a long stream, but that's the fun part. So what do we think? Did they prove anything, or did they raise enough suspicion that this lady should be let out on bail? Spoiler: she's not let out on bail.
Yeah. I saw the.
She's got way too much money. She's too much of a flight risk to
Yeah.
do that. Now,
Yeah,
what
and
I do think it shows is I want to see the probable cause affidavit for them. I want to see what the state actually has. But we're trying to do this as oh crap. Is there
Tainted.
any way I can say this without
Untainted. I think tainted.
Well, yeah, don't stop saying that word.
Taint.
I know, I was trying to say it without saying that word. You know how some people have moist? I have that word. Like
Well.
moist is their word that goes yeah, no.
It's yeah. I didn't really think that you had the correct friend who sung to get out of her own 4 felony convictions and possibly a 5th gun related felony. Isn't gun felonies a bit looked harshly upon if you are a felon with a gun? If I know anything about American law, but I know nothing. I'm pre-law, so I know nothing. We need David, but he has this. Oh, this is for you.
Actually, that together makes it funny.
Yeah.
Just taint by itself is just a word to me, but together it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's and it's funny sometimes when you get into a chat and people are saying like the thing moist is a bad, or people think it's yucky, and as well, I can hardly speak Danish at this hour, but we're just thinking moist. That just means that it's wet. So what's wrong with that? But again, I'm learning so much, and at some point I'll be learning English too. So we'll have to do this another time. But if there's no other law tubers occupying space tomorrow, I will probably go on and fill a little bit of your morning and my afternoon with some more of this interesting case. And again, remember, boys and girls, if you're gonna do crimes, don't use social media. Use carrier pigeons.
Check and check. When husband finds out order for 10 young carrier pigeons, he's gonna be like, what the actual baker told me to do it. I was forced.
It's not legal advice. It's I'm pre-law, so I can't give legal advice. So yeah, and C-Swept, I don't know if the I have to press this. YouTubing is hard. I don't know if they're mentioning the Google searches. He did some interesting Google searches too. I read something about that, but I can't say I'm going in raw, but I'm going in without knowing much about this case.
Me either.
I'm going to break you at some time, Mo.
That's a slow pitch. I don't know. God and I have a thing. If people give me slow pitches, I ignore them for the most part because they're just evil temptation. God says, wait for the really funny times, like funerals and stuff.
I like my Alexa, Aaron. I have like multiple of them in my house.
Nope. No. I say way too many things that come right out of my head and don't pass a filter. Alexa will cut my entire house off and my oxygen. No.
Whatever.
Right behind
did you not see the smart house that got turned off? All of his smart stuff got turned off because he made some potentially spicy comments?
Well, I'm doomed then.
I have my Google
friend
Home
cracking me up.
behind. I have my Google Home behind this lamp here, and I have some more around the house, and it's annoying. It's like every other woman, when I talk to her, the other one in the other room starts answering. Why can't this one just listen to me? It's like the GPS woman too. Every time she says turn right, I know I should have turned right, but I'm going the scenic route. But they're always complaining. Yeah. No?
I never had a problem with that word, so it doesn't bother me. It makes me laugh.
Well, no, moist is fine. Again, moist is fine for me. It's the other word just by
Moist
itself
is
that I'm
fine,
just.
yes.
So what he should have said is, if you're going in raw, you better not hit the taint and hope it's moist.
Wise words to live by, and I might get a T-shirt that says that now. I don't care how much it costs, Baker. We're getting it to you.
Don't hit the taint.
Yep.
We are crowdfunding that.
Ladies, it's 6 my time, so it'll be around noon your time. Thank you so much for entertaining me for a 1 hour interview that took a little over 1
Did we
hour.
even make
of
it
my
though?
We made we made it through this thing, but it took us a little while, and it was fun. And I hope we'll do it again at maybe again tomorrow with this one, or at some other time, whenever I get the taint out of my mind.
Moist taint.
The moist taint. That's gonna
Now
haunt
I've
me.
given you guys my kryptonite. I can just see it. My entire chat's gonna be full of just taints just everywhere, just throwing them around. Just
No, Farrell. This was the first 1 hour. This detective. Then there's a private eye, and maybe Eric's sister is going on too. We're missing about 2 hours of the full hearing. So if I can math, that'll be about 70 to 80 days before we finish that. So,
Yes.
but we will have fun every day.
Yeah.
Mow in the taint, yeah.
Yeah, mowing the taint. I like that.
In the deep
Molester
taint.
on the taint.
So I'll sign off, and I'll thank you so much. Jamie, you're not really grifting anything, because you're just the eye candy for all of us streamers. Mo, grift away.
Okay, guys. So I am covering the Delphi case, and I will probably be doing a video, not a stream, where I compare and contrast the probable cause affidavits from a recent case, so the Gannon Stalk case with Letitia, versus what they have on Richard Allen and what we went through. I don't know what the notifications are doing, but that way it's kind of a concise. It's not going to be a short video, but we can get through it if I don't go off on 12 tangents. So,
You're not
and
known for
then
doing that.
no. And then Mondays and Wednesdays will be Delphi stuff coming up. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays will be either videos or church lady stuff. I've got to figure it out. Y'all know it is like catching a freaking jelly bean with a net at this point, trying to get stuff done with my children at home. It's like when it's just one of those impossible things, like Candy Crush level 703.
Oh my God. Well, we'll see if I continue this tomorrow, but they have
Y'all, when I
Yeah.
get a merch store, I'm selling like crotchular dry spray, and we are calling it something about that.
We did not ask for anything. It just magnetizes to us.
But again, maybe I'll continue tomorrow, but they have declared that it could be a heat wave. So I'm not really sure I want to sit here with a light shining in my face and the windows closed. I'll see how the weather is in the morning my time, and then I'll plan it on YouTube. So if you want to join, and
Christ.
what are weekends for other than sitting before a screen and talking about moist taints and other parts of the body? Or maybe follow my fashion advice channel. I'll be opening soon. Salmon-colored shoes should never go with your dominatrix belt. That's my first advice to you ladies.
So clear acrylic. What would go, Baker? I need to know.
Well, if you're going for the dominatrix belt with the big studs, so you really can hurt a guy. I'm sure Salvador knows all about that kind. You need the knee highs.
The knee highs.
Yeah, glossy
Thigh-high
leather knee
pleather.
highs.
Okay.
High pleather man killers. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Perfect for court.
Jesus Christ.
All right, we need to stop this
You
now.
willingly came. Don't even.
You saw the ride and still bought a ticket. I
You sure
cannot help you,
did.
sir.
There
Yeah,
you
and
go.
that's
Most of it all.
it's just like the first It movie. We all float down here, and we are a bit airheady, but we are fun people to be around. So I'll just end the stream now and say thank you so much, all of you, for showing up. It's been a fun 3.5 hours, and the only way it became so fun is because Mo and Jamie showed up. So thank you so much, Mo and Jamie, for showing up.
No problem.
You are welcome.
Yeah. I was trying to do work, but this is much
You don't do any work. You just hang around and do everything better by showing up.
fun. Okay.
See you all.